What is good, chat? It's Wednesday. I got my boy Leon Idol with me in the house to start things off. What's up, Leon?
My man, I'm here. I'm living the dream. You told me we were gonna be talking about ghosts and spirits and demons and all the things that go bump in the night. Like, I love spooky shit, and I was thinking about how terrifying fat people are. And frankly, I'd rather live in a haunted house than live with a fat person. So that's the real fear that conquers my soul at night. How are you?
You're terrified by fat people now. Is that men or women?
Yes, and the in-between models that are as of the 2020s
right.
and whatnot.
Current day. Okay.
Right.
My child, who you are his favorite YouTuber, he's currently
he is my second favorite kid.
Oh,
second favorite for obvious reasons, you know. I have my own and whatnot. Although I can always make another. So
he tries to talk to you now all the time. It's kind of cute. So hi, Leon.
I like, okay. Always say hi. Anytime. I'll always say hi. I love kids.
Leon gets the kids.
I mean that in a good way. YouTube's weird.
It is weird. Who's not weird is Nadia. What's up, Nadia?
As the residential fat girl in the group, I'm offended. Leon.
Oh.
First of all, you're on a weight loss journey that I wholeheartedly appreciate. You've been doing well with it. And not only that, but you're also not one of those fucking retards that's all like, oh, being fat's healthy. You're like, no, I know this is the thing that changed.
Fuck that. No, my bones tell me in joints it's not. Fucking fatties, get in shape, man. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Put the burger down. Put the burger.
Base.
I am prepared to be the fat girl in the club if you want. I'll do it. I'll be the fat chick. It's fine. I'll take that one for the team. People that are prepared for my family already. So we are going to our special guest, Kamran Pasha, is in the house. What's up, Kamran?
Hey guys, and thanks for having me on. I was supposed to come on last week, but I couldn't because there was stuff going on. But I'm delighted to come on, and we're going to be talking fun paranormal stuff, ghost stories, maybe throw in some Hollywood stuff in the process, and we can maybe do some intersections of Hollywood.
Well, how do you feel about fat people?
Hi, Erwin. So I just want to I want to respond to the snark of this person you put up there. So Erwin, I don't know.
Hold on. He's got like 30 comments. Don't even get started. He was here before us. He was here at 5 a.m.
Okay. So all right. You go do your thing. She's gonna leave one day, and all I can say is the Hollywood Reporter put out today about, she's gonna leave. Her leaving is linked with Iger leaving. So you can keep making fun of me for talking about it, but at some point the trades are already past your level of conversation. So when Hollywood is talking about her leaving, the fans can keep saying she'll never leave, but Hollywood is saying it. So you can make as much fun of it as you want, but
who's leaving?
Fun of yourself.
Who are we talking about?
Kathleen Kennedy. It's a standard to start off. The first thing I see is like, oh, Cameron, she leaving. Obviously, it's making fun because I've talked about her leaving. She hasn't left yet. So at this point, the industry's talking about it. You don't believe it. You're just making yourself sound silly because the industry's talking about it now. So I'll just leave it at that.
Cameron, I would suggest that it's less making fun of you and more trying to get a rise out of you. I don't think you're not wrong in this at all.
No need to put the videos on as the first thing I see is the first thing. I mean, why put that on there?
Wrong.
Because the first thing I do on YouTube is, I get attacked all the time. There's entire YouTube channels that have done lengthy videos about what a fraud I am. It's hurtful. So no need to put those kind of comments up because I'm going to respond to it.
You need this shirt that I'm wearing. It says zero cares given. Zero cares given. It's the Care Bears. Zero cares. Basically, like zero.
Care Bears were cool and all, but the gummy bears were better. They had a better theme song.
It's wise of you, but no, I want to be honest with you because we'll talk about fun stuff and we'll talk about paranormal, we'll talk about things. But this has been a challenging journey for me on YouTube. This is one of the few channels I come on still because I came on to YouTube, with much positive intention and love for fandom and passion for Star Wars and things. And then over time, for a while, people were very excited to have me on. And then after a while, people decided it was much more profitable to mock me and to do things. And it's been a hurtful journey. That's why there's very few people like Zach's I still come on to anymore. So, if I'm reactive about that stuff, it's been painful in my life. It's been the first thing I'll give you just when it was started, my little nephew, who was like 7 years old, Googled my name and videos came up saying what a terrible fraud I am. I'm not even a screenwriter. He asked me, Uncle Cameron, are you a fraud? This is hurtful stuff, guys. And it can be funny and funny for you people. This is my real name, right? It's my real name. real face. Most people can hide behind the monikers they've created. In fact, the people that attack me the most are the ones that have fake names, fake images. They even change their voices. That's how scared they are of being uncovered, right? They change their voices with modulators. They're so scared. And I put myself out there as a professional who has a reputation, and I've had to endure a lot. And I think, this year will probably, as nice things are happening for me in my career, I'm gonna be winding out of YouTube soon. And so that's why I know it's funny to put those little posts up, but they're hurtful to me because I have people in my personal life who say, Cameron, why are you even doing this YouTube stuff? These people don't appreciate you, and they make fun of you. And it's reaching that stage in my life where it's like kind of winding out of my life now because the value is very limited and the damage to my personal reputation is very high. So I want to start in a positive way, but if you're going to put up posts like that, which are even meant to be teasing, I'm not a type where I can be teased. And I've been on your channel a few times. I've had people say stupid things in the chat, right? And they just feel comfortable saying stupid things that they wouldn't say to someone to their face. So I don't know why.
I mean this with all due respect, though. I mean, but the internet's been since 1992, man. You're out here, you're doing great, you're rolling with the punches and whatnot. Fuck the chat. We're here to have a good time. So
that's what I'm saying. But Zach, you're going to put that stuff up as the first thing. That's the energy we're going to start the show with, which isn't the energy I want to start with.
See, I think that so I apologize for that, Cameron, but I took it as I think it's a joke. Like, I don't think that's a joke at your behalf. It's like just something people bring up. I don't think it was something that I wanted to show to make fun of you. I think it's just like it's ridiculous to me, like that people are still talking about this stuff and that they bring it up with you. And I have nothing but respect for you.
I know you do. I know you do.
Never.
It isn't a joke to me because people. I mean, literally, Google me on YouTube and see what's the first thing that comes up. It's not all the great stuff I've done. It's not. It's literally Kamran Pasha is a fraud. Kamran Pasha is this really horrible, hurtful things. And because I'm not hiding behind a fake name, that's in my life.
But to that, buddy, and I mean it's the respect. Roman of the Empire just stated, Leon, happy month. Why? Because ever since my debut on YouTube, there's jokes that I'm a fucking homo, and like I'm taking it. It's funny. Right, I know what.
I think we just start off.
But again, is that his real name? Is that his real name? Is that his real name?
Roman Roman's his real name.
Yeah, Roman.
No, but,
the Empire's not his last name, but.
I mean, he's not of an empire,
but that's what I'm saying, guys. I actually want to say this because first of all, welcome, Lovett. After
hello, everyone.
I want to say this.
Hi, Lovett.
I want to say this because I think many of the people on YouTube, because we've created a culture that really started 2017 with The Last Jedi, YouTube became a phenomenon. YouTube critique became a phenomenon, right? But most people are very happy to hide behind other names and other images and keep their private life separate. So if someone chooses not to do that, it puts them in tremendous amount of I've had people say to me, Cameron, you shouldn't even have your background. There are weirdos that can dox you and have and like
my husband does all the time with like windows and stuff. I mean, I'm with you, Cameron.
But I'm a normal person. I don't think like that. So I'm like, why would anyone do that? But they do. So I just want to say that. I'm sorry we started this way, but I've actually had a place where I'm sensitive about it because this is my name. And you Google me, I have a 20-year career in Hollywood, and literally I've had people in my private life like say, are you this kind of person that I'm hearing negative things about on YouTube? And it's like people who literally are hiding their names are creating entire videos about me. And for what? Because they don't like some of my coverage. I mean, it's mentally ill stuff, but it made me not want to be part of YouTube anymore, to be very honest.
I know that.
Well, you got to protect your mental health the most. You have to protect that the most. I mean, at the end of the day, yourself, your mental health, your wellness and stuff is more important than some videos on putting videos on YouTube and stuff. But I was going to recommend we do another Gina countdown and restart the whole show.
We can restart the show with lovely Gina.
Yeah. Welcome, Lovett. Thank you for coming. Yeah, Cameron, I don't disrespect. So I'll process that stuff better. I've got there's an entire channel that was like hating me, and I didn't realize it for like a year. And
but Zach, you can still escape it. You can escape it because your real name isn't known to most people, Zach. That's you can escape it. You can escape because your real name isn't known to most people. This is the thing that people in the YouTube culture do not understand. When you are actually, I'm not going to be famous, but I'm somewhat publicly known because I work in a profession. And to put my real name, real face out there, this is stuff that an employer can use against me. This is stuff that you cannot get a job over, right? And then added on top of that, you have people going, let's have fun with this guy because he's a sucker for putting his real name out there, right? It's really something I think YouTube culture needs to start thinking about, that we're all human beings on this thing. And there are people that are really fundamentally bad people who YouTube has given the most powerful way to hide themselves to then attack the world. And I think we have to get to a place where culture evolves into a positive place, like this channel largely is.
Yeah, it's supposed to be positive, for sure. Yeah.
All right. We'll move on from this, but I
more positive.
You didn't know I was going to react that way, but there's a lot going in my personal life with this kind of stuff that I had to react that way.
I get it, Cameron. I apologize for. To be honest, I hadn't read the comment that much, but yeah, it's yeah, I understand it's different, but we'll keep moving. All that being said, I live in Winnipeg. If anyone wants to come visit me, give me a call, drop me a dime.
Cash me outside.
Yeah,
I use my real first name. It's not.
I live in Missouri and it's a standing ground state and we have guns. Feel free to come visit me.
I was not smart enough to use a fake name. I was smart enough to do so.
I'm gonna be touching buns with the Gooch again tomorrow. So another YouTuber, we're doing our burger lunch tomorrow.
Well, he's great.
Of course,
any toppings that you look forward to tomorrow?
Hey, get the rainbow burgers, Zax, for
rainbow.
the YouTube.
Yeah. Rainbow bacon?
Yeah, you know, like places like dye the buns, the bread into rainbow colors for Pride Month.
I don't do that.
What about
it
a
has
June
to exist in Canada
burger?
What was that, Lovett?
A June 16th burger.
June
horrible
16th.
joke. Yeah.
What's June 16th?
It's like
Juneteenth?
Juneteenth.
Yeah.
I thought Juneteenth was June 19th. Am I? Maybe
it is June 19th.
Oh my god.
It's okay. It's all right. The woman's trying to do math. It's okay. It's okay. She's trying to do math.
There's a reason I'm not in banking anymore.
It's all right.
Because you're a woman.
Canada sucks at slavery, so we don't have the
Oh
team.
god, I haven't even.
This is one thing you know about the world. There's only one economic system. It's all feudalism. It's always a few people, and everybody else works for those rich people. Whatever else you talk about, the structure always ends up being that.
Feudalism or tribalism?
Yeah.
What's up, Polly? Why is it
Polly?
Hi.
Polly's here.
Polly, easy to talk smack about others' reports on false information while hiding behind an avatar. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
sure
that's 90% of YouTube.
Mhm.
Just
pretty much.
to be honest.
That's
Yeah.
90% of
positive
media
thing-
before YouTube. Again, it's
90% of
before YouTube. Like
Yeah.
it's, again, well, it is what it is.
Well, on a
Polly's
positive,
welcome,
this
though,
is,
Polly,
a,
if you wanna
this
come
is an
on.
incredible channel. On a positive thing, right? I'm sorry we started off with a discombobulated thing,
No,
but
no.
maybe sometimes that energy is needed because
I love it.
Because I think this channel is a really significant channel. One of the reasons I love coming on here, Zax, is that this is a channel where I can feel actually naked to be crazy, to talk about the paranormal,
Oh, yeah.
to talk about supernatural phenomena, to talk about my ghost stories and my personal UFO sightings. And you know, that's wonderful, because a lot of the crazies out there are like talking about Star Wars all the time. They got no time for the actual magic of life. Life is magical, and this channel explores magic in many ways.
And I was looking for this topic quite a bit. I wanted to do it. I was excited for it last week, but I'm glad we could do it this week. And it's one that I've been thinking about because we talked about personal stories and ghost stories and experiences. But like, I really have been looking into the theories, because you actually got me into that, Cameron, with talking about the interdimensional travel and like from you. Yeah. And so I've been looking into it deeper with AI now. Honestly, it's so much easier to put things together. And it's probably better to learn it on your own, but like I can pull up all these pages at the same time, and then I can cross section this information and how it fits across the world and over time. And so I'm into it. So excited to talk about that tonight. And Polly, if you wanna link all, you can obviously have one.
You're always welcome on here, Polly.
Thank you. And thank you for the $4.99. And we got some other people saying, but I'll get you your clip first. For what should I give to Polly, you guys?
Oh man, my first instinct was beta male, but not as an insult. Not an insult to Polly.
Oh no, Polly's not a beta. He's
you know it.
He's a black belt in jujitsu. He teaches jujitsu. I mean, I've taken.
Yeah, he'll kick my ass. He'll kick my ass for sure. I'll get this one. Here you go, Polly.
How much money do you send them on a monthly basis?
I send my children $750 a month.
$55.
that clip has taken over my channel. We now have skirt emojis, so it is a favorite. It's a favorite over here. Blue Collar Loser, Zach's Boundary was great. I'll catch replay, and I am seeing that Friday. I got tickets for 7:30 Friday night. Wife and I are going to go check it out, so I'm excited. I'm glad to hear it was great.
Okay, to be fair, Blue Collar kind of likes everything. I love you to death,
He
Chris.
can't say
You
bad-
kind of
he's
like
bad
everything.
about it.
I'm also, to be fair, I'm excited for Ballerina, so I'm not gonna just like, it is what it is. Love you, Blue.
We could tear a movie apart to the point where it is like badly written, badly acted, everything, and Blue Collar would find like something, just be like, it wasn't that bad. I can understand people.
Well, I like that. There has to be positive people out there who
True.
He's looking for that diamond in the rough.
The Last Jedi, you can say The Last Jedi is beautiful cinematography, and that's as much as I can say, right?
Yeah. Fair, but yeah,
Sure.
I love Blue.
Had
He
good
was on
lasers.
with me Tuesday to talk about Bring Her Back. It was great conversation with him.
Right. So who has seen Ballerina here? Because I want to see it this week. Anybody seen it on the panel?
I have not yet.
I won't
Not
have
yet.
time to see it this weekend.
No, I mean,
Until Friday.
I'll hopefully see it Monday. Before
I like Anna Darmus. I actually, I think
Oh, me too.
she should be a bigger star than she is. Like even in that, and we'll talk about Marilyn Monroe, but even that horrible Marilyn Monroe movie Blonde, she did an amazing job with a garbage script. You're like, this is an Oscar-worthy performance with one of the worst scripts I've ever seen. I mean, it's one of those bizarre things where you have to be really good to bring that kind of stuff to it. And then I loved her in the Bond movie. I think she's a natural Bond girl, and so I'm kind of excited for this.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched all of that the Marilyn movie, just specific scenes.
I did.
Yeah. So,
Do you agree with me that
how
it's not
was
a
it?
great movie? Do you agree with me on that?
Listen, Blue would find something very nice about it.
Well, the performance is great. Her performance in the
mean,
garbage script is great.
Performance can only take you so far. The writing is just.
Green Day puts on a great show, but their music fucking sucks.
It's horrible.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Well, but
I haven't.
she's,
Yeah,
she's lovely.
she's lovely though.
She is.
She is. I think she's being picky with her roles because I don't think she wants to be typecasted as just the bombshell every single time. So I would love to see her in more stuff, but maybe she just wants to really pick the right scripts for her to be a part of.
Yeah, but I mean, but she's still even in what I mean. She's still a beautiful killer girl in this new movie, right? In this Ballerina. So she's still So I mean, does she have the range? I mean, I haven't seen all of her films. I don't know if anyone knows. Does she have like range to do stuff outside of like really hot but interesting girl?
Talking to the person who watches horror movies most of the time. I don't know.
Well, today's gonna be fun because I've been saying on other things that I love where horror is going this year. I think this is the year of horror renaissance. I don't know if you agree with that, Nadia, but I'm like even like Clown in a Cornfield. I had so much fun.
Last 5 years.
Where's Jenna?
Last 5 years.
Hold on. Can we get a Clown in the Cornfield reaction from Kamran Pasha, please? How was it? How'd you like that movie?
Oh, I love Clown in the Cornfield. I love slasher movies, especially 80s style slasher movies, and this is intentionally an homage to an 80s style mass killer slasher movie, literally a clown in a cornfield, killing people. However, what's different about it is that it's actually a commentary on the difference of values between Generation Z and older generations. Yeah. And
have you read the book? Have you read the
book?
Whoa,
there's a book. It's based on a book.
It's 3 books. I've read the first book before I went to go see the movie, and the book definitely has a bit of TDS in it, very much so. But yeah, so like Arthur Miller in the movie comes off more like an Elon Musk kind of figurine. In the book, it's definitely Donald Trump. I mean, they even say "Make Kettle Springs great again," the town that this whole takes place in it.
So it's a commentary for that generation. Anyway,
yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting book. I wasn't a particular fan of the movie, but I think it's because it just wasn't. I'm not the age ranger. It's just maybe I'm desensitized. I'm seeing this, so I didn't like it. The horror movie I've liked so far are Bring Her Back, which I thought was phenomenal.
Which I haven't seen yet. I'm looking this weekend.
It's heavy. It's not scary. It's very heavy.
Okay.
Deals with grief, even more so than Talk to Me and Sinners. I haven't really liked anything past that in the horror range.
Well, Sinners, I think, is one of the greatest movies made in the last decade. I mean, I was blown away by that film. I saw it four times, once in IMAX.
Wow.
Dang.
Talk to me is like streaming with Vex, dealing with grief.
All right, so Lovett, you were a banker.
I don't know.
You were a banker? I want to hear about Lovett's story. You were a banker?
Yes, I was a teller at Bank of
right.
America for a few
you
years.
weren't one of, so you were basically on the front lines. You were one of these like sleazy investment banker dudes machinating behind the scenes.
No, I didn't try to. I mean, you have to pitch, like you want a credit card or something, but other than that, you just give the people their money.
So you weren't stealing billions of dollars from
I wish.
I have an MBA. I went to school with all those people that are now doing that.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just low level grunt.
I gotta say, so thank you, Leon. Words of Paradise, 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate you.
Got you, homie.
Brother, you're on the panel. Of course, you don't have to do that, but you did, and I appreciate it. Means the world to me. And also, did you know that I was watching Hypno earlier, and he's using your line? You have to get 10% of that, Leon. He's using your line.
What?
Tell him I told you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'll let him have that, but the motherfucker says bingo, bango, bongo, bitch better be sitting in I'm just saying.
No, yeah.
All right, I want to respond to a comment that I'm responding to it but let's bring it up, and I'll be respectful in my response, but I'm a passionate response. It's from Cbrew1138. Which is said the comment about Sinners because they clearly haven't seen the film, and they say they haven't seen it, so I want to respond to it.
I gotta find him.
Cbrew, I just responded to them. Their comment is
not this one.
No. Comment about Sinners and twerking and whatever. You'll see it.
Oh, I'll find it.
Oh, I see it. Sinners was mid, twerking and slam dancing doesn't make a movie.
You think that's what this movie was about? Again, that's an example of someone who's heard something from a YouTuber or some other weirdo talking. So I don't know you, but this movie is I'm just speaking as a filmmaker now. I think it's one of the greatest films made in certainly of this generation. I think it's a movie that's going to change how films are made. It has so many layers that I could just go on for hours about it. But people are obsessed with what is the most magical moment in this movie. There's this wondrous scene where this is set in 1930s Mississippi, and sort of a juke joint where they're all they're getting together and dancing at night, and then vampires descend on them. But there's a moment where the main character is singing a blues song, and that creates a rupture in time, which is sort of the center. He has this magical ability to essentially bring the past, present, and future together through music, which is something the vampires are very drawn to because they've lost connection to their past, and they want this magical ability. And so it's actually one of the most beautiful scenes in the film where suddenly, as these people, 1930s, dancing to blues music, suddenly within that you flash back to other eras, West Africa, China, because there's Chinese characters, and these dancers from those times come in from the past, which is really magical and beautiful. And then they flash to the future. You see sort of modern rockers, people that are going to be inspired by this music generations from now. And then you have a brief, like half a second, showing a couple of African American girls dancing in sort of modern twerking way. It's just a flash, and because it's showing how music changes over culture and is connected to the blues, right? But literally, there's been people making entire videos of that on YouTube because this movie about twerking. I'm like, this is a movie about 10 billion things except that half a second scene. It feels like when you focus on that, it's coming out of frankly a place of racial discomfort, right? Because this movie isn't about that, and yet the fact that people focus on a half a second scene that's part of a magical sequence that goes back to ancient China and then goes into the future, and they focus on that, suggests to me something profoundly wrong. That's the commentary that people take away from that film, and I think only people who are coming in with an agenda would watch a 2-hour movie.
I think it's about half a second racial discomfort. You don't know Cebrew's race, and I've seen black people criticize this scene. To be fair, now I like the scene. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying.
It's one moment in a massive scene.
When you say it's coming from a place of racial discomfort, I don't know Cebrew's race. I feel like that's a bit of a leap.
No, it isn't a leap. Why would you focus on that in a 2-hour movie? Why is that the subject of videos?
I've seen No,
Why?
what I'm saying is when you attribute to racial discomfort without knowing the person's race, that is a leap.
No,
I've
but
seen
you,
plenty of
no,
black
I
people
think it is racial discomfort regardless of race. I think the issue is you can be a black person and say, I don't want black people being
Maybe they
shown
just
stuff.
don't understand the scene and it has nothing to do with race. Because you're right, it's a deep scene. It's a great scene. It's one of the best scenes in the
But
movie.
how do they not understand?
How do
you not understand the scene? It's a 2-hour movie, and that scene is magical. And to focus on that suggests something is triggering about a flash.
But isn't art subjective? Isn't how people interpret
yes.
movies and TV shows, books, and stuff?
And
Nobody's going to have
part
the
of
same
subjectivity
identical.
is pointing out if you focus on half a second in a 2-hour movie and that's what you get out of it, clearly it's triggered something in you.
Oh, there it is. I see.
I mean, it's triggered something. So one can be subjective, and it reveals a subjective trigger point in somebody. So one person left my Patreon because he said the movie's racist. Why is the movie racist? The bad guys are white. Bad guys are Ku Klux Klan in 1932 Mississippi. Should those be the good guys?
And that's a retarded take. I agree. That's
vampires are actually Irish.
But vampires are Irish, and they're very likable vampires.
Don't be throwing shade at my heritage.
No, the Irish have their own shit to go through in this country too.
I'm Irish.
Which the movie shows. The Irish guy is trying to empower he's seen the crap that happens to minorities, and Irish people in the 30s were minorities. They were as much a target of the Klan as everybody else. And so this Irish vampire is like, I can give you power, I can give you eternal life so you can fight back against the system. And that's actually not a crazy argument coming from an oppressed Irish vampire, right? So again, when people don't see any of that and they see that, that's subjective, but then I have subjective right to say that's bizarre.
I'm very happy.
Where the leap in logic is you're attributing it to a race thing when it could just be media illiterate individuals. That I've seen plenty of black folks who saw that scene and didn't like it because they thought it was jarring and didn't fit with the overall rest of the aesthetics of the film, the times of the film, just because they didn't get it. So my point is, jumping to the racial aspect when it could just be people are fucking stupid. Again, Occam's razor.
I don't know. But see, bro,
Lovett wanted to say something. We've interrupted Lovett a couple of times. What did you want to say?
He didn't see the movie, so Lovett.
I forgot.
I'm sorry. This is what happened. Interrupt a nice.
Never.
That's not nice. All right, good. Well,
subscribe to Lovett, guys.
I want you to.
Yes, please go subscribe.
Full of awkward moments. Yes.
She is reviewing Blood Meridian.
Yes. Yeah, very happy.
Oh, I have that book. It's on my to read list. I just haven't gotten to it.
Yeah, listened to the audio and read a little bit of the physical copy, but yeah, we had to push it back because some scheduling issues. But we're on very soon. I would say not the 8th, but the next weekend, the 15th, which is Father's Day. Yeah,
Father's Day.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Father's Day. Yeah, with Copa and Zax. So be awesome.
I'm getting through it right now. It's not what I expected it to be. It's very gory, but it's not like I find I'm not really drawn into the characters really that much at all. I think you're not supposed to be, but it's not. But anyways,
senseless.
Sinners. Before we move on from Sinners, which I quite liked, I saw it on the weekend. I wish I thought in the theaters I might have enjoyed it more in the theaters. I did like it quite a bit, but my favorite, the lead, the main villain, he's in a show called SAS Rogue Heroes, which is on Amazon. He's the lead character on that series. He plays a guy called Paddy Mayne, who's a World War II hero, and he's amazing on that. I recognized him right away, and I loved in Sinners. He kept leaking the Irish out. If you throughout the course of the film, he was leaking the Irish out to where his accent was changing and going back, and I loved that. Like the detail, I thought was outstanding. I think he's a great actor, and I hope
Jack O'Connell.
He will be in 28 years later. He's going to be in 28 years later.
He's going to be charisma.
He's actually one of the names that was on the list for the casting the male lead of my movie, that the meeting that hopefully I'll talk about. So he was one of the names I brought up, and before Sinners he wouldn't have been on that list, but now he's becoming a star now.
In Rogue Heroes,
not bad looking either. Just FYI,
easy on
even as a vampire, I'll take it.
he plays a real life person who in real life may or may not have been gay. It's on the line, but it's a part of the show. It never comes up. It's just so I think for Pride Month we'll say that too. But he plays a character that drifts into psychopathy as a hero throughout this series, and he owns it. I love that series. Go watch it. Yes, it's out. So Cameron, if you haven't seen this, highly recommend it. It's 2 seasons. It's based on true stories, and they intersperse actual footage of the training and the missions into it. So it's great. Anyway, that's my evangelical push for Road Heroes. I won't stop. Can't stop. But Leon, you can't stop giving me memberships.
Whoop whoop.
Appreciate you.
All right,
Yes,
I'm clip. I've forgotten.
Here's your clip. It's gonna be loud. Loud. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Beta male, beta, not an alpha male. Beta male, yes. Beta male, beta. You a beta male? Beta male, not an alpha male. Beta, what a shame. Mommy's boy.
The only part of that offends me is the Will Ferrell's part of it.
Oh, not a Will Ferrell fan? No.
No, he's a very smart individual. When you look at him like in interviews, things like that, I love him on SNL. I just do not think his style of comedy carries a full film. At least not when he's the lead. Like something like Zoolander, where he's more of a antagonist side character sort of thing, is fine. But yeah, I don't think he carries movies very well.
And Nadia, also thank you very much, Nadia. 5 gift memberships. Appreciate you. Thank you. You're on the panel. You didn't have to, but you did, and it means the world to me. World, I can't do it. Leon, can you do the world?
Wild. Just do a Bugs Bunny impression. Wild.
I did it for a shameless plug because I'm less than 100 away from 1K. So
Awesome.
Let's go sub to Nadia.
Yeah.
Just mute
I
me. You
use
don't
my
like it.
alt
It's okay.
account.
I don't care. Yeah. Use
do
all your alt
everything,
accounts.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Break out your sock puppets, people.
Yeah.
You got them. But Nadia's got to get to 1K. And it's gonna have you've been actually, I think you've been gaining fairly quickly now. Like you've picked up momentum. It's that first 500, and then after that seems to be a little bit easier.
Forever.
Easy.
No, it takes.
Mhm.
I think it's slower. I think it's the Stranger Things. I think that's what kind of helped me get there. So that will help once we're back next week.
And your trailer reaction was awesome, and that was great. And it saw all kinds of new people coming through. So yes,
Yeah.
season 5
I
is
have
gonna
to
be big,
watch
man.
Stranger Things season 5.
Join the panel.
I'm thinking about joining your panel because my
Do it.
kids are
She
like,
sounds so
Friday-
excited about
it's Friday
that.
night.
I know you don't like Stranger Things, but I need someone to talk about it with. And I was like, well, fuck, the kid's asking me. How can I
We're
say
on
no?
season 3, episode 5 next week.
I
Leon, you're always
won't
welcome.
join until you do your season 5 panel, because that means
Well,
I have
fuck
to
you.
rewatch. That means I would have to rewatch that shitty fucking show. Like
How about you hop in during season
Oh.
4 so you're ready for season 5?
Season 4 is
maybe
great,
I'll do that, because I to be fair,
Mhm.
I didn't watch season 4. Season 3 was so garbage. I actually do like season 1. Season 2 was like
I dropped
Oh,
off
yeah.
after season
Season
2.
2's the
season
weakest
3
one.
sucked. So I didn't
Mhm.
watch season 4. To be fair,
They redeemed themselves
Cameron-
in season 4. I promise you.
But then again, I
Where are
canceled
you
my
on Stranger Things,
Netflix,
Cameron?
so
Stranger Things, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Sorry,
From
what was
Cameron.
the question? I was responding to some people in the chat. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Stranger Things. Where are you at on that?
I've only seen the first season, which I enjoyed. So I haven't followed it since then. So,
First season's
so
very good.
yeah, I mean,
be
it's
interesting.
I have a tendency to
Before.
watch things after they're no longer popular, like
Oh, that's what I'm doing.
it's like, yeah, it's like Game of Thrones. I didn't get into Game of Thrones until people started grumbling about it, and so that's I don't like getting swept away in the passion of the moment. So when I've had like a little bit of time for people to process things, then I'll go to it. And in the process, I end up watching stuff like, hey, I should have probably watched this a couple of years ago when it first came out. It's really good, right? But that may be just my own stubbornness.
I think it's a weird release schedule for this last season, the way they've split it up.
Mhm.
They split it up into 3 volumes, and volume 1 releases November 26th or 27th. And then you don't get volume 2 till December 25th, and then you don't get the final episode till New Year's Eve. So they're splitting up immensely. But I think each of the episodes are supposed to be over an hour long to get everything kind of buttoned up.
kind of like miniseries length.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, Finn Wolfhard's new haircut looks atrocious. I don't know if you saw
They
him.
all look, man,
do.
bro. You should.
Poor
I
kid.
try to be as nice as possible on my streams, but
Like,
sometimes these
nah,
kids come
man.
on stream. I'm like, oh
The
no,
bowl
man.
cuts are
My
just.
kid, she comes to me-
Jonathan's the worst with
Oh,
everything.
Dude, she comes to me yesterday. She goes, "Did you see Finn Wolfhard cut his hair?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Watch this Netflix event with me." And she turned on that To Doom, and we sat and watched the entire Netflix To Doom yesterday.
Mhm.
And it gets to the Stranger Things part, and I was like, "Oh, he looks like Edward Furlong in American History X, but somehow worse." Like, it's rough.
For Nadia, I'm going to play her some more subtle comedy. It's British, so it's definitely more upscale, and yeah, she'll appreciate this.
This is you as an all-American, and a big opportunity for you in Hollywood. You must have had to beat off a lot of American men to get this part. Why does that make you giggle? Did you not have to beat them off?
You
With a
acted
big
to get
stick?
the role.
I would do that in a heartbeat. Sorry, Chris.
Oh my
Yeah, you're a
In a
fan.
heart. I love Dan. He has a new movie this month with Al Pacino. It's a possession movie, The Ritual. Yeah.
Oh.
so-
Yeah, he's excellent.
So Al Pacino, wonderful actor, one of the great movie stars of our last couple of generations. I can no longer, now that I finally saw a Tropic Thunder like 3 weeks ago. I'd never seen it. I finally watched Tropic Thunder.
I'm bad at seeing fucking movies.
Well, yeah,
I've
but
seen
I saw
that.
Tropic Thunder, and it's one of my great regrets that I didn't see it in the theater, because that's the kind of movie you had to see this,
so
because that's
good.
not a movie that's going to be released for at least another generation, something like that. And the character, the African American gentleman, was Al Pacino, right? A mock on his name, right? So now whenever I hear Al Pacino, I just think of Booty Sweat and Bust a Nut Bar, right? That's we have to do like a special Zach session on that.
I
movie.
love that movie.
Yeah.
I'm down.
We have to talk, and why it might be a while before we get something like that ever again.
Oh, maybe not in our lifetime. Maybe not.
Great
We'll see.
topic. Yeah. I can't believe Kamran Pasha said booty sweat.
Yep. Well, I mean, why would I've used expletives on this channel, so
yeah, you can say whatever you want. Crab feeder.
I'm pretty raw, dude. I don't think I'm uppity.
Clip it.
You're famous. You're famous, Cameron. That's what I'm saying. You're famous. Crab Feeder, 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate you, Crab Feeder. Crab Feeder has stuck with me all the way from Flaccid Phoenix and our Hills Hurt, so I appreciate that. Crab Feeder. What could I play for Crab Feeder? Oh, this is a good one. This is a newer one. It's body cam. Body cam videos are fun.
Real gun. I've never seen a gun that small. I just found it, sir.
All right.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
That is the worst fake seizure I have ever seen. Knock it off.
Everyone gets to be a star in the modern world, right?
Yes.
We should
And I
pretend to
have
get
seen
paid.
fake seizures like that, and it is
Mhm.
hilarious. Yeah. They did
One
the
of the
sternum rub
fake
after.
seizure though is a real seizure.
Gooch
never seen
didn't
a real
like
one, only
Nosferatu. I don't take Gooch's opinion on movies anymore.
Well, what triggered you on that?
Ooh.
No, it's just a kid. Gooch is Gooch, and I adore Gooch. But I will say, Gooch goes, I understand why people like this movie, XYZ. It's just not for me, and that's perfectly fine. So
Yeah.
I'm just baiting.
Love it.
That's all.
Gooch stands on business. If he
He did
believes
love
it, he
Wicked.
believes it.
He did love Wicked.
Oh
He
boy.
stands on business until a 9-year-old takes out his knee. They said,
And Lilo and Stitch.
Mm-hmm. And
I
Lilo
did
and
love
Stitch.
Wicked.
Oh, I love Lilo and Stitch. I had
Rossi,
so much fun there. I'd laugh my butt off. So
Yeah.
it was very
I
heartwarming.
haven't seen it either version, so
Yeah.
I would just haven't. This is for you, Rossi. It's White Boy Day.
You must have thought it was White Boy Day. Huh? It ain't White Boy Day, is it? Oh man, it ain't White Boy Day.
What is that from?
True Romance.
romance.
Oh, okay.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
It's
Yes.
up there for sure.
Never seen it.
I think I made you watch it, didn't I? Love it.
Yes. Yeah. I had never seen it before. It was worth
Tried
it.
to get Leon to watch it, who pretends to be a Tarantino fan, and this is his first script he wrote. and
Somehow,
Leon's
yeah,
never seen the
somehow that
movie.
one's missing. I still need to watch True Romance.
And
It's
he looks like
it's
me.
hard to watch movies when you're streaming every fucking day.
I know,
Yes.
I get it.
So here, I'll give you a little
Right.
Hollywood insider story. So I'm working
Yes.
a lot. I'm working on several projects with Lawrence Bender, who was the producer of Pulp Fiction and most of Tarantino. They were partners for most of his journey. I think they split up a couple of years ago. The last couple of movies, I think what was Inglourious Basterds was the last one they worked on together. But Lawrence Bender and Quentin Tarantino were partners. And I've developed and sold 2 TV series with Lawrence Bender and his partner Kevin Brown. And so I've gotten to know them very well over the last decade. And his partner Kevin, he's his producing partner, was once telling me that the story of how he first heard about Quentin Tarantino, because the legend that Bender found him in a video store is my understanding is that's true. And so Kevin was telling about how that he met when he was like a nobody young wannabe producer, and he was at sort of a Hollywood party of other young wannabe producers trying to make it in the biz. He met this young man, Lawrence Bender, and he was just bragging about, man, I just met this crazy guy who works in a video store, but he's like got more knowledge of movies than anybody I've ever met. And his script is really good, and I want to figure out a way to get it made. And he was telling that story, and then they became friends after in that conversation, and now they're business partners, right? But that script was Reservoir Dogs, and so I know this sort of that hearing that insight of how just like normal people who are just trying to break in this town. This Lawrence Bender who's trying to break into this town meets this Quentin Tarantino who's trying to break into this town, meets Kevin Brown who's trying to break into this town, and then things just happen, right? And then suddenly they all become famous, right? So that's sort of the magic of Hollywood, of that story. Just hearing of just like these people didn't start at the top, none of them did, but they were the right people brought together. And so it's always wonderful to hear those actual stories from the people involved rather than just sort of legends and magazine articles about it. But you're hearing Kevin tell the story of how he first heard of Quentin Tarantino, who was, Lawrence just met this guy and had Reservoir Dogs, and they're all just hanging out talking about this, not having any idea the journey that was about to begin.
Cameron, do you think that could happen now?
It happens all the time.
I mean, it's happening right now with the Danny and Michael the Talk to Me brothers, the Aussie brothers.
Yeah, and they're interesting because they were YouTubers, right? They were like YouTubers.
They're YouTubers, but a lot of people also forget that they've worked on many film sets as well. They grew up, they did the hard work, the grunt work, and everybody is now they're getting a little bit of a backlash now, thinking, oh, they're YouTubers. Why are they making movies? They shouldn't be making movies. And I think it comes from jealousy from other probably content creators who think they can do it and they just don't ever try. But yeah, people forget. They think they just went from content creating to making these movies when they were on the crew for the Babadook. So I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I'm impressed with them. I've only seen their first movie, and I was really like, this is a great movie, and it's really smart, it's empathetic, right? Really good actors, people you wouldn't you wouldn't know these random, actors, and they casted so beautifully, and it was very evocative.
Thank you, Purvis. Absolutely, it is. Good night, Cajun Corey. Sorry I missed you there. 110 degrees in Vietnam. Good reason to stay away. Maybe, I don't know. Too hot for this guy. Too hot for this guy. True Romance, great movie. Yes, thank you, Sebrew. We're on the same page there. White Boy Day, indeed. Soul Assassin. Osvaldo Lopez, hello and welcome. Thanks for coming. I think that must be somebody from the Patreon, and appreciate.
Yeah, no, Osvaldo's on my Patreon. He's a lovely guy, and
Soul Assassin dropping movies, man. He dropped the whole True Romance movie.
I don't know how he does that. I don't know how he finds this stuff. It's pretty impressive. Polly is saying, ooh, thanks, Polly. Sorry if I missed in the chat, guys. Normally I'm better at that, but we got to do a running start. Tropic Thunder is amazing. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. And I would love to cover that movie. It's one of the funniest movies I think I've probably ever seen. I can't think of anything better. The kick I've seen in
but why is it funny? See, and you see, it's funny because it's making fun of Hollywood. It's making fun of sort of, and the thing is, it's
the legacy type of films and the genres.
Exactly. Love it. And it's not far off in its critique, right? When you watch those opening, the scenes where you have the sort of opening trailers and ads, right? How far are they from reality? Those are the kind of movies that get made. And so it certainly, Ben Stiller was certainly going to a place of self-critique. And that's why, people are like, well, it wouldn't work today. I think it might not have worked for the last 10 years when everyone was oversensitive, but I think Generation Z is going to be open to this kind of social commentary because that's what it is. It's social commentary. It's mockery of cows.
Try not to take it so serious, guys.
It was so funny because it didn't hold back. It didn't seem to hold back. They would go there with everything, and and great performances too. Like you have to really RDJ for pulling that off the way he did. I don't know. It was perfection. The casting was great. The acting was great. Performances were excellent. I love Tom Cruise in that movie.
Yeah.
And you watch these reactions. I'm sorry.
I was asking Zax, how do you not have that as a clip to play for Super Chats?
This is the last horseman. Who is this?
This is Flaming Dragon.
Oh, okay. Flaming Dragon. Fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
Everybody forgets they think
Lex
he's some
Grossman.
action movie star like Mission Impossible movies and stuff, but I like when he dives into comedy. He's pretty good at it.
Oh, Collateral was awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, as a villain, Tom.
Yeah.
Well, he was very good, like the white-haired assassin. Guys, I gotta give me 5 minutes. I'll be back, and we start talking about ghost stories and things, and wherever else want to go. Yeah. So I'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right. So we're going to talk about ghost theories on it. So let's get started off with that, and also we'll get to camera stuff too, but I'm kind of interested in this stuff. I want to ask in general on the very basic definition of the possibility. Leon, do you believe in ghosts?
Motherfucker, I run a show called Ten Full of Haters where we talk about this shit every week. Come on. Yes, yeah, I do. Well,
I know you do. I know
there's a caveat to that. I believe that 99% of any experience anyone's ever had with something that's quote unquote paranormal has a scientific, physical, whatever explanation. That being said, there's that 1% of fuckery that cannot be explained, and by God, that's when the otherworldly shit comes into play.
Lady Nadia.
Yes.
Broadest definition possible. Do you believe in the existence of ghosts?
Yes, but not as spirits that have passed on.
Okay.
I think I agree with Leon. I think most of the time you can explain it with science, but I do think there is a percentage of it being either demons or negative energy or just maybe individuals stuck in purgatory. But I believe once you pass, you move on to somewhere else, whether you think it's heaven, hell, another dimension, or whatever. But I don't think you just stick around after you die. I think maybe like the energy you leave might, and that might manifest. But yeah.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah, I'm with Nadia on this. I believe ghosts are real, but they are indeed spirits, like fallen angels, demonic entities. They're sent here to destroy and wreak havoc on our lives. But other than that, when you pass away, it's pretty much game over. You sleep until it's time to be judged.
God damn, you mean at some point I'll finally be able to get some sleep?
Yeah, one day. I'm looking forward to it. But it's only a millisecond because in actuality...
Let's not do that.
Not if Elon Musk has his way. We're all going to be uploading.
Neuralink, I will
forever.
refuse.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I ain't getting no goddamn
I will be like
Neuralink.
Demolition Man, living underneath the sewers, eating rat burgers.
Sign me up. Upload me. I want to live forever.
And what if this choice there's other take backs with that? Would you think?
What do you mean?
You just unplug yourself.
But is it the real you?
Can you? Leon, what do you think? Can you unplug yourself after you've been?
But isn't that suicide in a sense? And then you're definitely going somewhere bad.
Nah, I not necessarily. I don't believe necessarily in the whole like suicide into the hell sort of thing. I think very much there's intent there. If you're actually it's my favorite Robin Williams movie. But yeah, no, whether or not you can unplug yourself, even if it's against the TOS. I mean, read any William Gibson book. You can find people to unplug yourself for you. Like there's gonna be a black, if you can't unplug yourself, there's gonna be a black market for motherfuckers unplugging other people.
I'm in the camp that ghosts are demons. They're demons because 9 out of 10 times most ghost stories are not positive stories. So I'm in the camp. I'm in the camp that more than likely they are demons or some sort of negative energy that's out there.
Even like familiar
that
spirits
you gotta get
too.
into the etymology of what a ghost is, because I mean they are two. The reason there's two different words for it is because they're not the same. Like demons are a specific type of thing. Ghosts are different, the same as werewolves are not vampires. I mean, when you say
No, I understand there's two different words for it, but in my head, the reason why we have ghosts is just to be like, ooh, somebody moved.
Why don't we go with
down the table or something? I understand there's two definitions, but in my head they are actually demons. It's just another word for demons or some form of demonic energy that is just sticking around.
But at that point it's not a ghost, it's a demon. Now people might say like but basically what it sounds like you're trying to say is ghosts don't exist. What people are attributing to ghosts are actually demons.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like paranormal activity. A lot of that gets attributed to ghosts.
Okay, well, I am going to talk about some of the most popular theories and give some examples. So that the first number one theory, I guess they're not really ranked, I wouldn't say, but the first one that comes up is spirits of the deceased is the theory. And so that's like what you think it is. It's people who've passed on and through some kind of trauma. Part of them is stuck behind. And an example of that one that comes up is
very popular in Japanese culture.
Probably, yeah.
But popular in every culture. I mean, the reason they're so likely that ghosts exists because they're in every culture. Anytime you've got something.
No, I know ghosts exist, but I'm saying usually for Japanese culture, it's because they've experienced some sort of trauma in their death, thus they stick around.
Right. I mean, you also see it in China, you see it in Mexico, you see it in so many different Native Americans. Like
listen, I'm just bringing it to anime, Leon. Fucking shit. Making it as simple to the weebs as possible, man. All right.
Sorry.
Fucking man. I'm
passionate about the subject.
My fucking doctor.
She's helping.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Leon asked questions. That's fine. How did ghosts procure the sheets that were a good question? Yeah. So this is for spirits of the deceased. And I'm going to try to delay on this one for a bit until Cameron comes back. But ghosts, in this case, are spirits of people who have died lingering due to unresolved issues, strong emotional attachments, or unfinished business. This is the idea. This is a widespread belief across cultures, rooted in spiritual and religious traditions. And one of the famous cases of this that meets this criteria is the ghost of Anne Boleyn. And so this is an artist rendition of Anne Boleyn's ghost holding her own head.
Look, if she'd be like she got unfinished business out of her, Anne Boleyn totally deserved what she got. I'm just saying.
So
why
is
is
she
out there?
To Leon's point, she was black, right? So
no, it's because she was a whore. That's a difference.
Yeah, that's a difference. And look, I love the musical Six as much as the next guy, but Anne Boleyn kind of a cheeky hoe. Like
she was. I agree. I mean, look at her husband. I mean, I'm not saying you should. I'm happily married. But
look at her husband.
Look at her husband. Look at her, not mine, hers.
I'm going to ask the chat a question. Welcome back, Cameron. I see you there.
I see we've jumped already into ghost conversation.
Yeah. Do you believe
we're
in
narrowing
ghosts? Is
down
the
the
first
definition
question
of ghost at this point, so we're very early on.
All right. I heard some in background stuff. Some people say they might be demons. What did I miss? What are some of the theories here?
They're demons. 100%.
Okay. So Cameron, personally, and I know this, but I have to ask you, given the broadest definition possible, do you believe in the existence of ghosts?
Well, I believe in the existence of the thing that people call ghosts. Yeah, I mean, I think I think a lot of paranormal is misidentified phenomena. You and I've talked about my belief that that's mostly interdimensional phenomenon that is being reported as UFOs or Bigfoot or even ghosts, right? It's because reality isn't as solid as people understand it to be. In fact, it's not even solid at all, but that there's overlapping dimensions. So I think some ghosts can be, that thing of of a time slip where you're seeing,
right?
Where where you're seeing into a moment like Anne Boleyn or whatever, right? You're seeing into another moment in time. That's one possible. I think some of the reported phenomena is that. I think because I've seen things. I mean, I've gone on ghost hunts and I've seen things with my own eyes that you could define as ghosts, right? And so I don't think in the case of what I saw, it might have been a time slip or it might have been a sort of recording. The idea of that maybe certain rocks record events like holographically, and then they replay, right? That's one thing. But then you have like conscious entities like poltergeists and move things. So some poltergeist, maybe is that an entity or is that someone using, because poltergeists tend to happen around teenage girls a lot who are going through a lot of biological changes and emotional changes. So is that psychic energy from that rather than an entity? But then there's things where you see what looks like the headless Anne Boleyn walking, with her head, right? So what is that, right? And so, yeah, one common theory, I think certainly very in Catholic terms and many Christian things would be that these are all demons. I am of the view that they can be what you would call demonic entities. In my spiritual tradition, they'd be called evil jinn, right? But that they'd be these interdimensional beings that are taking on, almost like trickster, taking on these forms to mess with you. And so yeah. Am I close to the possibility that some of these are actually the souls of deceased people? No, for me, I'm not close to that. But like, for example, we had Nadia very, very clearly in her review, they're all demons, and that may very well be true, right? But I'm saying that I'm personally not close to the possibility that there are entities that are holographic souls of people that have deceased. Because in my spiritual tradition, I believe that when we die, we enter into this sort of intermediary world, which is called the barzakh in Islam and Sufism, which is literally the world in between. So, and it's essentially, you could call it the astral plane, the ethereal plane, whatever you want to be, but that is an actual dimension that exists. And there's an interesting Sufi idea that the human imagination taps into that dimension. So when we are making beautiful works of art, writing scripts, writing great music, we're actually channeling from that dimension, right? And that the soul goes into that imaginal dimension after death, or at least as part of its spiritual journey onward. And I'm personally open to the idea that certain entities within that imaginal world can still interact with us, and through what I would call the faculty of the human imagination, which is not saying it's imaginary. It's that in the same way that the eyes provide us the faculty to see certain things within a spectrum of light that we're capable of seeing, right? That the human imaginal ability, that certain entities may be able to tap into that almost and present to us as our imagination creates them. Like why somebody says, where do they get the white sheets from, whatever. It's not that these entities are floating around in 17th century clothing or holding a head. It's that they're interacting with us, and then our imaginal facility translates that into what we're seeing in the same way that what we're actually seeing is translated by our brain. It's light impulses coming from the eyes that our brain is translating and creating this holographic image of what we think we're seeing through our eyes. But everything we're seeing is actually inside of our brain. And I would suggest that the experience of ghosts is also imaginal in that sense. It doesn't mean it's not real. It's just that they're using that faculty.
Gooch, good to see you tomorrow, dude. Can't wait for burgers. So I want to just point this out. I actually put this in the description of the show tonight. And so these are 10 of the most popular theories. They're all here. If you want to follow along in the chat, there's spirits of the deceased, residual energy or imprints, interdimensional beings, psychic projections, time slips, EMF, electronic, electromagnetic field effects, demonic or non-human entities, quantum consciousness, culture belief systems, hallucinations, or neurological phenomena. So they're all there. Those top 10. If you're curious and you want to look at those, go ahead and read them out. I did homework today.
None of those are mutually exclusive, by the way.
I agree.
Absolutely not.
They can all meld in.
It depends on how, like, somebody who's Catholic.
Sure.
There's, only a certain.
Yeah, my Catholic friends seem to have and I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying my conversation with my Catholic friends, I even know like a Catholic exorcist who's done exorcisms, they have a very binary perspective. It's angels or demons. There aren't other entities that fall within the paradigm of that tradition, at least as it's been expressed to me.
And so for this one, for the first one, it's this is the Anne Boleyn. Because 1536 she was beheaded by her husband, King Henry VIII. And so
she's beheaded by the guillotine. Come on now.
Technicalities, Leon. Technicalities. So this is so people say they see her, especially in and around the areas where she was beheaded, and this is one of the modern legends of ghosts, which would be an example of the spirits of the deceased. But I want to ask Cameron, so you have gone, has anyone else, Cameron, you have done ghost hunts? Anyone else on the panel, have you done a ghost hunt of any kind? Leon?
Yeah, I've done a few.
My sister ran one of the biggest one in Indiana, Illinois area.
Wow. I've stayed at the Crescent Hotel multiple times. I've done ghost hunt, the official ones. I've done my own. I've done some at Haunted Castle, not too far from where I live. I've done several local ghost hunts at like local hotspots in my state, like just not like officially were put on by a crew, and then just me and my friends went out. We would go camping in these supposedly haunted areas and do our own ghost hunts. Again, this is something and a lot of this is because I don't know if I've talked about this on stream before. I'm sure I fucking have. I went to school for religious philosophy, and so it's specifically Christian, but I studied all myriad religions, and so the idea of my entire area of study was how you could correlate religion, philosophy, and correlate it to real life science, physics, things like that. So this is an area where I'm probably gonna have a lot to say. So I apologize for how long-winded I'm going to be throughout the course of the night, just in advance.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what you're here for. I love that. Talk. Tell us about one of your ghost hunts if you don't mind. Any experiences you had. Make something up if you want. It's fine.
So like I said at the beginning, I think that 99% of this stuff is of the physical world, can be explained, and people's imaginations get the best of them because brain gets into a hyperactive state. However, there's a couple experiences I've had that that cannot be explained. Me and my buddies went to a supposedly haunted farm. This is from for those of y'all who don't know, I live in the Midwest, the South, like the southern part of the Midwest, northern part of the South. We were pretty big on slaves up in this bitch. So me and my friends snuck into an old plantation that's still more or less standing. The property is standing. There's still a few buildings left, but they're all like fucking ramshackled or whatever the word is. The rundown, barely standing. The foundation of the old house is there. Like all that's left is the stone foundation, and then the fireplace. And me and my buddies used to several times a summer for several years sneak onto this plantation, this private property, and we would go camping for 2-3 days and try and catch shit. And there was always weird little things. You hear noises or you see things at your periphery. You get nightmares, whatever. But the one physical thing, well, I guess two physical things happened there. But the one that really gets me was one time. And this is probably, we've been here several times by this point, so this is why this one was really out of the ordinary. Me and my buddy Ginger, my buddy Snow, I'm not going to give their real names, but we all had names from one another. We went into the farmhouse itself, or what was left standing of it, and my buddy kept complaining that like something was yanking on his arm, pulling on his arm, and we thought he was fucking with us, like, oh, you're a group of guys hanging out, you're camping, something, you're fucking around, he's just trying to scare us. About 3-4 a.m. rolls around, we haven't seen anything. We didn't bring any camping gear this time, so we're like, fuck it, we're just gonna go back to my apartment, play some video games, go to bed, whatever. So we make it back to my place. We all, conk out for the night. Wake up the next morning, and on his left arm, he actually is covered in bruises that, like, no explanation as to where they came from. Me and my buddy Ginger didn't have them. He didn't have any threat anywhere else on his body, just the arm he was complaining about. So that was interesting.
And it wasn't you.
Sounds like demons.
No, it wasn't me. I wasn't grabbing another man's arm at 2 a.m. in the middle of the woods.
Was this July or June?
It was summer. I was doing it in the summer. Oh, June, because pride. But yeah, no. It actually may have. It could have been anywhere between June and September, because we would always go during the summer because it gets cold where I live.
Leon,
I love it.
So you did like the off the books ghost hunting.
Yeah, I've done a couple on the books ones as well. Like handful
it's
of those.
Every Midwest child. I don't know why.
Yeah,
anybody.
100%, dude. Yeah, we would.
I did the same fucking shit.
and to be fair, like because obviously a lot of folks, I've talked about how much I enjoy mushrooms and psychedelics, things like that. Anytime I've gone ghost hunting, I've made a point to always be in the right mind. I've never gone ghost hunting with any drugs or alcohol, because I feel like you're gonna see something, or your brain's gonna play more tricks on you because you're not in the right state of mind. So as much as I love psychedelics, I've never done them on any sort of ghost hunting escapade.
These are fascinating stories. These are really interesting stories. And again, all we can do is we have to choose how to interpret them, right? For Nadia, it's very clear it's demonic activity. And that's, that again, that may be the correct paradigm. But all we can do is try to figure them out. I mean, I've had my own bizarre experiences, and because in my paradigm there are angels and evil jinn and other things, I'm willing to put some of these things into the other thing category.
I mean, there's other things in my paradigm. I just think that as human beings, we don't stick around unless something traumatic has happened and we leave energy that maybe manifests in some way. But I don't think
Nadia.
I don't think our souls stick around. I think we move on. So that's why I think whatever we consider as a ghost is.
But do you think there's? I mean, so you think the soul is part of the body and the soul moves on after death? Now, if it's not, what do you think about the idea that it's not a one-way street? What if there's other things, other entities, roadblocks, whatever it may be? You know, it's things off the beaten path of the other world that can keep you from moving on, like physically keep you from it. Like what makes the soul so special that it will always get a straight line passage to the next place?
I just think it's just a way how we like jump from one place to the next, and then by that you can be dimensions, you go to heaven,
right? But,
hell, whatever.
My question is, do you think there are things that could keep that from happening?
I don't think so. That's why I think whatever might be pulled off of us is energy that we leave behind depending on what has happened to us, like something traumatic. So like, for instance, when my mom passed away, the same night my mom passed away, a ball of energy like formed right next to my head when I like was going to sleep before I had to get on the plane. And to me, I think that's my mom, like the energy just there to check on her kids before she dips out to the next place. I don't think 20, 30 years from now, there's going to be the ghost of my mother somewhere. However,
right,
like something like this, I think this is manifested over time because of history where it is, and she had a traumatic death, the one on the screen. So, but I think like there's other things, like I believe in Bigfoot, I believe in giants, I believe in other things. I just don't think ghosts are people.
So let me give you an interesting thing within that world, right? Within the ghosts are not the souls of people. So this is something I think a lot of Muslims don't even know, but there is an idea it actually comes out of the Quran, something called the Qareen. I guess you would translate it as Qareen, the Qareen. So the Qareen is essentially an energetic double. It's an energetic double that every human being has, right? And essentially the idea is that it can be inhabited by a jinn or a spirit, or you could call it a demon, and that the energetic double is often what whispers the bad ideas and desires and negative thoughts within us, right? And that there are many Sufis that will say that ghosts are actually the appearance of, upon death, the energetic double is essentially severed, and and I'm not sure exactly what happens. So maybe in some cases it disintegrates, maybe in some cases just floating around. But I guess in these cases, if the double doesn't disintegrate, the Qareen, it can appear like as a holographic double. And that could explain a lot of ghost sightings where it's essentially an energetic double of the person. It's not them, but it's a simulacrum, if you'd like, right? That we are perceiving. I mean, that's one interesting theory that I haven't really heard discussed in paranormal before.
Cameron, you had to teach Gooch a lesson at some point here.
Oh, not again. Oh, please. Yeah, he liked Wicked. What can you ask of the man? All right.
Okay, so like Wicked. Okay, that's good. I didn't see it, so I don't know. I don't know. Some people like some of them.
Roman the Empire. Thanks for coming to hang out.
I'm Pakistani. We all watch musicals. Anyone from the subcontinent watches musicals. It's part of our culture.
So Nadia, back to this. Do you think that, like, so I assume being Catholic and whatnot, the soul, like it goes to heaven, right? That's your thought.
Heaven or hell or
well, yeah. I mean, basically, it goes to one of the
other. There's a purgatory as well, right? There's a third dimension.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do gingers go if they have no souls, even if they're Catholic?
Purgatory.
Okay.
Manitoba.
Purgatory is filled with all these. I love gingers, so purgatory is filled with all these beautiful redheads. Oh well.
And like, I don't think heaven is like clouds in the sky, babies with wings, golden gate or something. It could be interpreted as anything, like whatever you believe in, whatever's your happiness, the place that gives you ultimate bliss. I think that's where you eventually end up, or we move on to a different like dimension or state of being.
Well, heaven is by definition a different dimension. Like
but you know what I mean. Like
heaven is a different plane of existence. It's not just like floating out there in space. But like by definition of what a dimension is, heaven is. I mean, whether you're Christian, Catholic, Muslim, doesn't matter. Whatever your version of the beyond is, like by definition, it has to be another dimension.
Well, it's a dimension. You can argue, but one could also argue it's a state of consciousness. I mean, it's a state of consciousness as well. One could see it that way. That again, from my perspective, it's this barzakh, this in-between world, it's also the imaginal world. And so sort of the Sufi perspective is that your experience of the afterlife, at least at the initial stages, because like our Christian brothers, we believe in a physical resurrection at the end of time, where essentially the universe is reconstituted physically, and there's a physical resurrection of human beings. But in the in-between, the barzakh, in between now and that resurrection, which could be millions of years away, right? Or tomorrow. But in the in-between where souls reside, the idea is that the soul experiences, because it's linked to the imagination, the soul experiences an afterlife that is very much reflective of themselves and where they are. So if they're in a bad place spiritually, morally, they create a hell for themselves, and everyone's hell is subjective. It is something, it may not necessarily be hell, flames and people burning and pitch and tar and all that, but it can be wandering lost in darkness or shadows, or seeing things that scare you personally that might not affect other people. It's a subjective thing. And the same would be said for a heaven-like experience, that your imaginal sense would create what you think is paradise and what you would experience as such. And that would be different.
That's where I'll be.
I'm sorry?
I will be at Hogwarts, so that it will where I'm going.
There's actually a great moment that you mentioned Hogwarts in the book. It's in the last book. So spoiler for anyone who doesn't know the last book, right? It's that moment where Harry is having his big battle with Voldemort, and we think he's been killed by Voldemort, like that wand exchange, right? And then Harry gets knocked out, and he goes into this imaginal world where he's at the train station, and he sees Dumbledore, who's been dead, right? And Dumbledore is telling him, no, actually, you're not dead. As we will discover, something else happened, and Voldemort just ended up killing the part of him that dwelt inside of Harry.
The Horcrux.
Yeah, the Horcrux, right? And that was shown in the thing as a crying, burned baby in that sort of sequence, right? That he could see. And then he's asking Dumbledore, what are you doing in the Hogwarts train station, right? And Dumbledore says to him, oh, is that what this looks like to you? That was such an interesting little line. So whatever Dumbledore is seeing of that in-between world that Harry goes into is not what Harry is seeing. Harry is interpreting it as a safe place, or where he feels comfortable, which is the train station, right? Or at least a place where he sees it as a transition place, which is the train station. So even then, Rowling puts the idea that there's a subjective experience in sort of this in-between world on the edge of the afterlife.
Right, but so the in-between world, that would still, the reason I say that, or at least it's my, again, based on science interpretation, that it's not a thing of consciousness, because it's still a physical. There's still physicality to it. There's still gonna be mass. There's still like when you go to heaven, there's still gonna be mass. There's still gonna be.
Is there mass in other dimensions? I mean, we're projecting Einsteinian or Newtonian physics into another dimension. I don't know that it works necessarily. Is there mass?
That's what. There's not. We have no reason to believe that there wouldn't be. There's not. Since this is something that is untestable, we've only got the thing, the way that physics works in our own universe. We have to base all of our thoughts, our hypothesis, anything off of that. Otherwise, it's anything, everything is possible.
But I would suggest it's not testable. I would suggest it's outside the realm of science because it is not replicable. In the same way that, for example, if we think of death as a lucid dream, right? I'm sure I've had lucid dreams. I'm sure others in the panel have had lucid dreams, right? So is a lucid dream real? There's no place where that's happening, but a lucid dream can be an entire world that you experience, and you can feel the physical limits.
To be fair, there actually are theories that lucid dreams are happening in another world. When you go to sleep and you have these lucid dreams, and your pineal gland starts releasing dimethyltryptamine, there's actually some theories that state that your soul is able to cross over into another, what would be a physical dimension that you're only in for a limited time, because it's not where your soul is technically supposed to be, but it's because of the release of dimethyltryptamine that you're able to actually cross those incorporeal barriers. But that world is actually still real. It's real, it's physical. You just can't exist in it for so long.
Leon, do me a fucking favor. Take off your glasses and take a shot. Who are you, Professor? Okay. Over here.
Professor Leon. Lovett, do you have these?
Shot. Is that help you better?
Yes.
Yes. Take more shots. Love any of these theories that are out there, are any of them fit? What fits closest to what you believe in? Because you said that you believe they're mostly demons, correct?
Yes, like fallen angels came down and were cast out of heaven, right? So they had to roam the earth. They have nowhere else to go besides, the pit of hell. God, I'm doing it all wrong right now, but they wander around earth and stuff, and it could be also people that had done really horrible things in their life that left a magic or a supernatural scarring, and so they're able to traverse and interact with us like we have with the Ouija board and stuff like that. You try to communicate with other people who have passed away, but sometimes you interact with other people that call themselves like Leviathan and Bozo and all these other entities that are also known as demons in the witchcraft circle. So that's as far as I'll go.
Sure. Well, what's interesting is, I worked on that TV show Kings on NBC, like, 15 years ago, whatever. And that was where I worked with Sebastian Stan, who I already could tell was going to be a big star. That was his first sort of like lead role in a TV series at the time, and it was based on the story of King David from the Bible. And so I had to obviously heavily research and reread the stories of David in the Bible, and there's the stories that are in the Quran, and there's an interesting thing that I hadn't remembered until I read it, was that there is a story in the Bible about David's sort of mentor who turns against him, King Saul, right? And in his sort of battle, he's like at war with David, and he doesn't know if he's going to win the battle. So he goes to the Witch of Endor, which is where Lucas got the idea of Endor, right? But he goes to the Witch of Endor. This is in the Bible. He goes to, I think it's in Chronicles. He goes to the Witch of Endor.
Prophesier. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he asked the witch to call up Samuel, his prophet, who had been his guide in his lifetime, and Samuel has died by now. And he does it. It's to my knowledge, and please everyone correct me if I'm wrong. To my knowledge, that is the only calling up of a dead spirit, at least in the Hebrew Bible in the Old Testament, that I'm aware of. But he's called up, and he actually has a divination, and Samuel tells him that he's going to lose this war and he's going to die, right? And Samuel, and in the he doesn't want to be there. He's like, "Why'd you summon me?" He doesn't want to be called up. So the idea of using divination to summon a soul of the dead to communicate with them, or a ghost of the dead, there's at least one story in the Bible about that. It wasn't developed further. There may be Hebrew or Christian writings on that I'm not familiar with, but certainly Lucas was familiar with it because he named the planet Endor, right? So the Witch of Endor is in there. So there's certainly this idea of divination connecting with the dead, because you mentioned Ouija boards and things like that. At least there's one instance reported.
Yes.
So this is from the series, correct, Cameron? This is
we that was our show. We didn't ultimately do that scene because I think we would have, because we didn't survive more than one season. But we had wonderful actor playing sort of the Samuel, a prophet character, and he would have, we would have probably been killed off in second season, and then we would likely have done some version of trying to communicate with him. And so
I'm pretty sure China already did this at Tiananmen Square, so you'd have been ripping off them.
Mm-hmm.
I love your non sequiturs, man, because it takes me time to try to figure out what exactly you meant by that. So, I'm not going to put the effort in. Okay, you just said it. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. Professor Leon. Perfect.
Professor Leon. I don't even know who you are anymore.
Huh?
Yeah. Anyways, great show. So Cameron's Patreon is actually the pinned comment, and so please go and check it out as we're talking, because it's the only Patreon I'm a member of anymore. And Cameron is always updating. He has the Hollywood scoops, but he also helps people with their writing projects.
Yeah.
He's a 5-tool player, so I won't say. I was gonna say play with this tool.
I'm pretty. Yeah, thank you. No, thank you. I mean, like, many people would consider me a tool. Not everyone believes my Hollywood skills. So there's other reasons to go there, and one of them is that I do offer a lot of consulting. I'm very proud of the fact that several of my consulting clients came in with screenplays that didn't really work, and then we worked on them together. I mean, I just gave them advice. I didn't write it for them. I said, look, this is the structural problem. This is the character problem. This is what you need to fix, and they did the work, and then went on to become to win awards at festivals. That's now happened to several of my consulting clients. One of them is actually a guy I went to college with who joined my Patreon, and he gave me his novel, and I heavily critiqued it, and he did the work, he fixed it, and he went on and self-published it on Amazon, and it became a bestseller on Amazon, and it was so successful that he's just got an actual publisher. And so he's become a literal published author with a real publisher. And so I do offer that. It is of value. The one thing I'm doing now, which maybe will allow us to talk a little bit about the Hollywood stuff. We want to take a break from Ghost for a second. But actually, we can talk about Marilyn's Ghost. But one of the things that I've been putting up recently on my Patreon is, I'm working on this project about young Marilyn Monroe, and I have created a very extensive production Bible for the entire movie, which is literally a Bible. A shot list, analysis of the entire scene-by-scene movie, every lens, every angle that could be used, right? And as well as sort of visual packet books, right? This is an example of sort of a nice sort of AI poster I created for the thing. And the movie is called Goodbye, Norma Jean. It's, about the life of Marilyn Monroe before she was famous and her first marriage to Jim Dougherty, a very sweet, loving sailor, who, Hollywood told her to abandon him in order to become a star, and she did, and then she erased him from history. So most people never even heard of him, and he was literally the only man in her entire life who didn't abuse or exploit her and treated her well, and he's been forgotten. So I wanted to tell the story of their sort of tragic love and how Hollywood erased it. So those who come onto my Patreon, they're able to access. I've been putting up storyboards from it. I've been putting up AI visuals. I've been putting up analysis from my shot list. So for those of you who are aspiring filmmakers, that's not something you generally get access to, because now you're actually seeing stuff that's being used professionally to make a movie. And so and those who want to come there, I think it adds value. That's it. There you are. Goes Hollywood, and here my Marilyn Monroe film. We talked about all of it, and that's what we're flowing about the Queen of Persia, which is another thing that I'm putting up. I have my third, and I have 2 novels published, and the third one I've putting up right here on the Patreon. So I've just put up the first 37 chapters, and it's a 75 chapter book, and so every few weeks I put up another chapter, and people are liking it. So that's there. That's there for those who would like to try it. I think it's worth the $5 a month. It's not
absolutely
yeah.
No, it's well worth it. And who's a writer on the panel?
Who's a writer here?
Lovett.
I am.
Lovett. So I want to hear about you. Are you a novelist? What do you write?
I've written 2 short stories. One was like a hitman, handyman gone hitman again, and the other one was like a rom-com, like mistaken identity kind of situation. It was really cute. I have them up on Booksy.com.
Booksy. Do you have a link? Can we put that link up so people can people buy them, or how can we get access to them?
Yeah. So it's just Booksy.com, and you search Love It Ever After, and they're there. Okay, it's free to read.
Well, you're actually doing something you may not realize that is actually really great right now in Hollywood, because there's been a craze for about 18 months now, which hasn't quite ended, of like Hollywood studio executives like buying up short stories and attaching.
That's what my dream is just for someone to come along and take some of my ideas. I have like this brain full of all these stories. So,
well, I mean, it never happened before. Short stories were never a major source of Hollywood filmmaking. So far, none of those have been made.
Preview of a script, honestly.
Yeah,
because you can elaborate the chapters.
Yeah, and also the attention span of this current generation, a short story is maybe easier for them to read than an entire novel, right? And it gets them excited. They see, I could expand your cute hitman story into a whole movie, even, and then the idea enters their mind, and then, then the correct way is for them to then buy or option the story from you, and then they hire a screenwriter or whatever to adapt it. But it is. That's why I would love to get that link up, because I think people should, first of all, support you, and it's maybe someone will see this and go, I should
send it to that.
Yeah,
you can definitely send it to me. However, I'll just give you a wrench, and you can as much as you want in there.
Oh, you might regret that.
I doubt it. I don't do regrets.
Yeah.
Here we go. There you go.
That's why I'm still here.
Thank you. I'll never be.
That's why you're still here.
That's why I'm still no regrets.
Yeah, Cameron, I recently got to meet Nadia and Leon in person.
Oh wow!
We did a meet up in Vegas. It was awesome. Awesome. If you ever feel up to something like that, I totally recommend it. It's
I love Vegas.
In person.
I love Vegas. So. Yeah, I would say the last time I was in Vegas, I was there hanging out, and then I came down to my hotel lobby, and I was like, "What's going on here?" Because there was like these two very distinct groups in the hotel lobby, right? One were these like obviously sort of geeky, like nerdy, weird people, guys, most of them guys, a few women, right? And then right across from them in the lobby were incredibly beautiful women. Right, and I realized what was happening there was like a computer science convention and the AVN convention were both happening at the same time, like that weekend. And so I was like, "What is going on here?" It was like this bizarre like dichotomy. It was almost felt like a comedy movie.
Well, that's cool. Okay, so Jacob left. I want to come back to this because I think it's a good comment. Though.
Yeah.
Nephilim have not been mentioned. Let's talk about the Nephilim. So
they're fallen angels is Nephilim.
Nephilim have been removed from the Bible for some
No. Nephilim are still in the Bible.
I know they're.
Okay, when you say they were removed,
they
all right, sorry. You know what? I'll mute myself right now.
No. Continue.
They didn't get a lot of attention before. They are there, but there are other books that didn't end up in the Christian canon.
They control the Federal Reserve.
So,
well, I don't know about that, but no,
they fucking do.
What?
They fucking do. Hold on, I'll link it in the. Oh, hold on.
Nephilim were mentioned in both Genesis and Numbers. Each very, very briefly. However, they're most widely known from the Book of Enoch, which is an apocryphal. And I mean, I fully believe the Nephilim are real. A race of giants. They were the real reason for the Great Flood. But I mean,
they're still around. Their kids are still around.
Yeah, the purebloods.
Giants.
They call them like blue blood.
What's up, Crimmage?
There you go. The roots of the Federal Reserve, tracing Nephilims from Noah to U.S. dollar.
What? Where is
linked
this?
it in the private chat.
Just share your screen, Nadia. Don't make me do work.
No. You don't need to see what's on my screen right now.
Oh, Henry Cavill?
No.
Yes,
what is
they. That's what the rumor of.
Not my channel. There would be a super chat for.
All right.
Well, there's a really great YouTube channel called Mysterious Middle East. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
Zach,
do you know this?
Your address.
Oh,
what's happening?
Okay, I live in Winnipeg. You guys can come find me. It's fine.
Oh, okay, Winnipeg. All right, he's in Winnipeg.
Thank you.
If you want to hunt him down, people can figure out where I live because you can see outside my window, whatever. So, and yeah, but no. So there's this really wonderful channel called Mysterious Middle East, which is essentially this guy who does these really entertaining videos looking at sort of modern day accounts and legends of strange things like Indiana Jones type stories, people looking for the lost ark and people looking for this strange artifact and also interesting stories. Like he has a bunch of stories where he interviews American soldiers who claim they encountered werewolf-like creatures in Iraq during the Iraq War. And then he's got a thing which he talks about something that I think people have heard about. Have you guys heard about the giants of Afghanistan that American soldiers claim to have? Right, that
there was like, giants.
Oh yeah,
the giant.
Yeah,
the Kandahar giant, right? And so I understand the Nephilim are supposed to be giant creatures, and so that's possibly a continuation of that thing. We have. Within Islam, we've got the idea of the jinn, what Christians would call demons, but it literally means invisible spirit. That's what jinn means. The genies means invisible, but there is very much an idea that the jinn can take physical form and mate with humans and create hybrids. And hybrids do have sort of interdimensional. They're human, but they also have unusual characteristics, and Nephilim could fit into that.
You're telling the story of Genesis where they interbred with women and corrupted the DNA.
Right.
And then they had to
corrupted the DNA is I don't know if it's corrupt or not, because I mean, depending on the sort of your belief and whatnot, it led to really what we are now as humans. Because I mean, obviously not everybody perished in the flood. There's no way that just Noah's family survived because then you get to the Adam and Eve problem. How did they recreate if it was only Adam and Eve and they only had 2 boys?
Well, you have other stories from other countries about floods.
Right.
That
These are all different interpretations of the Younger Dryas flood of about 11,000 to
Mhm.
12,000 years ago, which would have been, that's why, like, for example, Noah's Ark, and I believe it's Noah's Ark, is just a reinterpretation of the tale of Gilgamesh. For example, like you've got all,
or it's the other way around. Gilgamesh is a reinterpretation of Noah's Ark, right? I mean,
no. Gilgamesh.
In the sense of when they appeared, yes, Gilgamesh appears first
But I mean, the point is, these all come after the Younger Dryas period, which was 11 to 12,000 years ago.
Yeah,
it is indeed.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So it's but there is that thing that there are these entities, and I just think the world is so much more interesting that if you accept the possibility of these things, and because I do believe, and I've had my own bizarro experiences that don't fit within the rational paradigm, right? I've seen what you could consider ghosts. I've seen them with my own eyes, right? And so it's. And I've seen a UFO with my own eyes. I've talked about, I never expected to. It was in the Atacama Desert during the solar eclipse in 2019. I had no idea I was going to see it, and I didn't ever expect to see one, and I did, and it was sort of life-changing to see that. So life is more magical when we accept the possibility that our limited framework of 5 senses isn't even close to reality.
No,
there's a cat situation here, so sorry, I've been distracted.
I was watching that. I was like, man, do I want to go grab one of my cats? But no, I'm holding off.
They're all over the place right now, so I'm trying to not have things unplugged. And there he goes. Sorry, go on, ghosts.
Boo.
Well, so has anyone here seen something? You can call it a demon or whatever, but has anyone seen something that could be perceived or called a ghost?
I mean, I have. I've told the story before.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I've.
I want to hear it. I want to hear that. I have. I want to hear that.
Let's go. I want to hear it.
No, I mean, ladies first. I've told it literally on this show before.
Mine's kind of like a sad one, but I think it's more or less what Cameron says. I was like in and out of sleep, so it was kind of like just maybe my own mind. But I woke up in the middle of the night, and at the foot of my bed, I saw like a hooded figure, almost like a death robe, but it was gray. So I didn't think of it as death, but I was scared, like he was coming for me. And he's like, "No, I'm not here for you." I was like, "Okay."
So he spoke.
Right.
You heard a voice.
Yeah, and I heard a voice. "I'm not here for you." Or I was like, "All right, whatever." So then I passed back out, and when I woke up, I had a miscarriage. So.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that.
Oh yeah, it's just a weird one. Yeah,
but, I mean, I believe that is true.
I didn't know at the time
that you weren't aware that you were pregnant at the time.
No, yeah.
Okay, so again, so that's interesting because the rationalists, and I'm not a rationalist. I believe in magic and mysticism. The rationalists will say, well, your body knew that you were pregnant. Your body knew that the pregnancy was ending, and so it created this experience for you to process it, right? As an imaginal sort of dream experience or whatever. Yeah. I don't believe that. I think you actually saw, an angel or being to come.
Well, angel would be more of light and it'd be reassuring. This one.
So you felt this was scary?
This was just neutral. Like, I'm just here to get business done kind of situation.
Well, look, again, but I'm not so sure. In many traditions, the angel of death is not necessarily seen as a very fluffy figure, right? In the Islamic tradition, it can appear as a very terrifying being, right? It can appear because it's death. It represents death. It represents this extreme change, and even coming for the souls of righteous people.
It's an absence of life, yes. Yeah.
And so it can appear appear something very, very scary and frightening, and the hooded figure is very common in Islamic archetypes as well, that kind of thing. So I will interpret that as I'll interpret it as an angel that was sent by God.
I perused conspiracy websites for many years, starting like in 2009 to 14. So when that experience happened to me, I looked up, I searched up like the worded like gray death or gray hooded figure, and like I could never find any experience like that.
See, and it's interesting that you mentioned the miscarriage, because I was about to again, I'm not sure if I would be I'm not a rationalist. But I am very much a skeptic who wants to believe. And now there is, in the vast majority of cases, a very scientific reasoning why people see these sorts of entities and figures when they're going. However, then you threw in the miscarriage part, and I was like, okay, that changes from regular sleep paralysis, seeing shadow people, figures, things like that, to all right, that adds a new layer that makes it seem more likely to me.
Yeah.
As opposed to just a regular,
hallucination.
Right.
Because I've had sleep paralysis a lot growing up.
Well, so when you have sleep paralysis, do you usually see these sort of shadowy figures? There's a word for it. I'm looking it up. Give me one moment here.
Well, there's many words for it. I mean, I've done like a little horror. I've written a horror movie about it, but
there's a
phenomenon.
Brain function.
My experience is I can't breathe.
Oh, and welcome, Paulie. Paulie's here. Paulie, thanks for joining us.
Paulie,
welcome, Paulie. He's got his thing. But wait, finish what you were saying, Lovett. Your experience.
Well, let me say hello first.
No, she has to finish her sentence.
Stop controlling everybody, Cameron.
It's okay. I've been accused of much worse things than that. Okay, go on.
Cabron. Hi, Nadia.
What's up, Paulie?
What's up, Leon?
What's up, bud? How you doing, man?
Paulie, what's up?
I got the invite, and at first I said, "Hell no, I'm not coming."
Oh, I see the mustache is coming back in.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
nice.
But I'm listening to ghost stories, man. But I got a few minutes. I'll hang out.
Cool, awesome. Thanks, Paulie. I see something over your shoulder there. A book of some kind. Paulie? Oh, it's gone.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Your book.
Your published book.
Oh, the poster.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a novella.
Nice.
And I've read it.
Oh, here with Plant, I assumed that you had a telenovela.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Paulie.
Telenovela.
Yeah.
It's actually have sold over 200 copies now. I'm very proud of that fact.
That's wonderful.
And it's 30 pages for $9.99. You can get it either printed on demand or your Kindle. So it's a great price. It's fantastic, and I'm very proud of this. In fact, was working on some elements today. And I with writing, like I don't know what Cameron's my quesadilla is ready. I don't know what Cameron's process is, but as far as inspiration, as far like ideas will float. I never force it as far as ideas, and they'll just pop, and like that's it. So I had that today. Thank you, Soul Assassin. I had that today with one of these characters, and for book 2, because this is a whole series I'm creating. So yeah,
I think Paul. And how awesome is Soul Assassin? This guy, like I don't even get a chance to even ask him. He just does it.
He's been Soul Assassin's been around since I've been around in the chats like 5 years.
He's always very fun and gracious in the chat. So
yeah, but like what I'm saying is like like 5 years ago the homie's been in these communities, so he knows what's up. Shout out, all respect to Soul Assassin. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there's a couple things. When I was a child, we would have a visitor. Me and my mom, we lived alone at the time, and I was very young, and we were still living in East LA. She hated it. And that's why we got out of there so quickly. This was East LA in the 70s. We had moved from Phoenix, and our only family was in East LA. And it wasn't an intruder, man, because it was just like it was just a dark spirit that would visit, and it was like a strong shadow. I never forgot that. And I still have long hair.
An intruder, just saying.
What's that?
I consider that an intruder. Like if you wasn't
like a physical like intruder, like you call
I
the
know what
cops
you meant,
or
I was never mind.
Oh, you're doing a joke.
There we go. Now you
I gotta learn your funnies, Leon. We gotta have you on the slant, bro.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
I absolutely love to.
So my hair was still long as a little kid, and it was after that my great aunt, she chopped it all off, and it was in a jar forever. She had done like a
protection kind of. My grandmother did the same thing for me. When I was first born, she would put my dirty diapers under the walkway, like the entrance way, of anybody that she knows that would maybe want to cause harm, or not cause harm, but bring in harmful intent. And they walk over it, and it's supposed to. So similar to
I said the evil eye. The evil eye is real.
Evil eye.
Viewers understand it. Evil eye is a real thing.
Yeah, and she was very much, holistic. I wouldn't say curandera level, but she was leaning towards that way before it became in fashion. Now everything's like holistic yeah. So yeah, that was such a powerful experience. I still remember it, still with me.
That's great. Well, those experiences are powerful because they break our sense of reality, right? And that's why they stay with us. You never forget any of these things. It's funny. Like I work in Hollywood with all these, people who call themselves atheists, and they're all like they don't believe in anything, and they don't believe. And it's not just they don't believe in God. They don't believe in UFOs. They don't believe in
atheists. So they're on their deathbed and they're praying for something.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, again, it's just a word. It's a word. They mean I don't believe in religion, or I don't like that religion, or what. That's what it means.
I know. I have a massive problem with anybody. There's no such thing as an atheist. At least not.
You always have to have something to believe in.
There's agnostics, 100%, but ain't no such thing as a goddamn atheist.
Well, a Sufi mystic once said, "Atheism is a universal no. It's just no to everything. No." I mean, that's not a thought out answer to anything, right? It's just no, right? But so
whatever. Is a philosophy that does not. It's not only does atheism not work philosophically, it is literally incongruent with the way the universe operates.
Yeah, so it's a petulant statement. Again, when you ask people what they mean, they don't actually believe what they think they're saying. They don't actually believe that. Not that.
Yeah, I wasn't arguing with you. By the way, real. Just so you know, I wasn't arguing with you about atheism. I was just I'm annoyed
inserting your idea.
I was taking that out into the universe, not at you.
Yeah, but to go back to what Paulie was saying, to just link it to what Paulie was saying, the experience I've had is all these people claim to be that, and without really defining it. It's usually just angry at religion, or specifically angry at Christianity, or whatever. That's what I experienced in Hollywood, right? So that's what it is. But then you get them talking. And they're like, I don't believe in UFOs. But there was that one time that there was a saucer flying over my house with glowing lights. That was something I couldn't explain. It wasn't a UFO, right? And then they always share with you these crazy stories that are obviously paranormal, supernatural, and yet they feel the need to share it because they can't get it out of their heads. But it's so
they can't rationalize it.
Their stubbornness, their stubborn paradigm, but they can't stop talking about it because they have to deny it. Because it's so extreme, and I always laugh. I'm like, that sounds like I'm sure that wasn't a UFO that was flying over your house and flashing lights, and I'm sure that wasn't what that was. but that's what they have to talk about it because it's impacted them, and they can't ignore the fact that it's impacted them.
It's recently I was watching the Jordan Peterson debate with the atheist, and what I found in that is it was a mess of a debate. Anyways, I don't know if I even recommend it. Watch it on Katie's channel tonight. He did, but it's the evangelical nature of the atheist that I was surprised by. Like, they don't just want to not believe. This seems to be like there's this glee in trying to convince other people not to believe. I don't know if that's it, to become
the misery love
what that
misery
is.
Loves company, and atheism will inherently lead to more misery. Because if you are an atheist, if you're an actual atheist, and again, I believe on your deathbed ain't nobody actual atheist, but if you are an actual atheist, that means you believe in absolutely nothing beyond the corporeal world. And if you believe there's nothing beyond the corporeal world, then that means there's no rhyme or reason for any of the good or the bad. It's chaos theory. It's senseless violence, senseless hate, the whole nine. And that will
there's no objective morality then.
Exactly, and there's no objective morality, and that will drive people to depths of despair within their souls, and they're going to want to not be in that alone, and that's why misery loves company. It is sickening to hear people rationalize atheism because, again, first of all, it is actually nearly mathematically impossible for that to be true, but that's neither here nor there.
Please give Leon a doctrine He will be at the next graduation celebration.
No, but he's defending theism, and that's not popular in the academy. So he's here. So so he's, as when you start talking about these things, universities don't like hearing that from a professor. So so
he's no longer a professor. He is a doctor. He's a doctor.
He's a doctor.
We've graduated.
Well, Molly, Kyle, they go hand in hand. Those who ascribe to atheism will often succumb to nihilism. Or those who are nihilistic will find atheism, one of the two, but they go hand in hand.
But as the Sufi master Hazrat Nayat Khan said 100 years ago, he said nobody is actually an atheist, because if they're actually atheists, they're denying everything, including themselves, including their own consciousness, because people say they believe that we don't have a soul and that our consciousness is just electronic phenomenon from the brain. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes they're not real. Nobody believes that.
Would you say that atheists are more so because they don't believe in organized religion, not so the idea
exactly.
that
Most
out
people
there?
who claim to be atheists are using the term wrong. Most people are either agnostic or they just don't like organized religion. They're using the term incorrectly. But Cameron, do you know what the Boltzmann brain theory is?
No, tell me what the Boltzmann brain theory is.
It shouldn't be called a theory because it's not theory. It's a mathematical. It's a theorem actually. It's an equation, but I don't know how they got the equation to work. But basically, what the Boltzmann brain theory is an equation that proved it is more likely. I want to make sure I phrase this properly because it's very convoluted. It is more likely that you are a singular brain floating in a void, and the entire reality that you live in is actually this brain in a void projecting its consciousness to create the universe, which is actually just effectively a projection of a brain in a void. That is more likely than there not being a higher power, than there not being a God. Like the idea that there's a single brain in a void that and all this is fake, is more likely than there not being a God, and that there's math to back that up. It's the Boltzmann brain theorem. It's insane.
For me, if you're going into math, it's very simple. To me, it's very, very simple. It's just the idea of the infinite. The infinite must exist because the finite exists. What is the finite? The finite is I have a body, it stops at this point, and then there's something beyond me, right? And my house is finite. It has a wall. Outside of the house is what is beyond that, right? And so that goes on. If there's ever anything existing, there's always something more beyond it until you reach infinity. Infinity exists by definition because finite exists by definition, right? So if infinity exists, well, that's God. It just exists by self-evident reality because otherwise nothing exists. And it's so straightforward to me. Yet people, again, the issue is people are upset.
And there are places where nothing exists, and what nothing is space. And people misconstrue space with the universe. No, because people.
No, but even that's not nothing. There's still quantum energies happening.
No. It is nothing. So they say the universe is expanding, right? Well, the reason the universe is expanding, it needs to be able to expand to something. The universe is expanding into space. There is nothing beyond until the universe is expanding into nothingness and taking up more and more and decreasing the nothingness. So there is nothingness beyond the universe. That is,
but that is something because there's something beyond a barrier. There's something beyond a barrier. So you can call it nothing, but there's a barrier and there's something beyond it. It's that Star Trek episode. Remember the barrier around the galaxy? There's something beyond it.
If there is a barrier somewhere in space,
the barrier kicked me off the stream.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Paulie. I thought you were eating your burrito. I'm hungry.
No,
I'm eating dinner, and I got some dates here to eat. I haven't eaten my dates.
I want to ask the same question we all answered, and that is: so you had your experience.
Can I just say something about God really quickly?
Yeah,
really quickly is on a subject matter, right? You know when someone's authentic or when they're not, when they're full of shit or when they're not. And it can be the same thing with religion and with your higher power. Like when I hear people talking about higher power, I don't tune out, but I'm just like, how are you holding yourself accountable to this being or whatever it's so badly defined? And that always it's always insightful for me to how that person goes about with their life, because I'm like, you're full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those people run Hollywood and are politicians. Oh,
sure.
That's all I wanted to say, because I'm like, no, you don't have a God. And that's just that.
No, but I think everyone has a God. Everyone, it could be God, could be their own lust or their greed. Everyone has a God.
That's man-made. That's that's human.
Right, that's not a real God, but everyone worships something, even when they say they don't. They worship their own ego. Everyone worships.
Yeah, worship yourself.
You know where I'm coming from. I do know where you're coming. I just want to clarify. I want to keep it simple. I'm just saying, like, look, I don't believe
you have to keep it simple when we're talking about extraterrestrials and ghosts and the heavenly. Like, this is the wrong episode to keep shit simple, my man.
No, you could. A lot of us like to keep it simple. It's like, oh yeah, I saw something. I didn't see something. I felt that. Like, you remember how I shared my experience? I wasn't deep about it. It was like, hey, this is how people.
Right, but like that. But even though you weren't deep about it, I wouldn't say that was. You explained it simply, but them trying to parse through what could be is when it goes beyond being simple, and that's the interesting part. Like Mike Rose said this. I found it. It's amazing. He said, "I'm not interested in how you feel. I'm interested in why you feel that way." That's the like. I'm not interested in what you saw. I mean, I am to an extent, obviously, but I'm more interested in. Okay, now we know what you saw. Let's take that further, and that's where it stops being simple, and that's where the fun begins.
Yeah, I mean, again, I was just using it as a moment to like, it's for me to get as far as I have. It's because I've defined and practiced how my relationship with God. Kamran does the same thing. I know for a fact, So it's just so when I just see a lot of people in the business, and then our leaders mainly to the left that are just so full of it when they're talking about God. Anyways, I just wanted to throw that in. I know it's not about ghosts, I know, but sorry about that.
But it's all part of it. I mean, it's all part of the beyond the five senses, right? And I think we can all agree that God is beyond the five senses. God, is reality, and that's
He exists outside of everything.
Yeah, and so and it's the infinite, and the finite. We as human beings have such limited perception. Dogs hear things we can't hear. Bees see things we can't see. And that's just on the material level, right? And so there's whole levels of consciousness beyond that. And then I would define God as the infinite consciousness, right?
We have someone in the chat here too, who is Rick Costa. He has a channel, and he does church every day.
Oh, so wonderful.
Might have some insight
nice
topics. So go and check him out for sure.
Well, see, this is something that I would encourage all of you, because we have people of different faiths here on this panel. I think, in my spiritual tradition, the word, and Nadia knows Arabic, I think a little bit, the Arabic word for human being is an insan. That's the word, human being. But the root of insan is actually literally forgetfulness. That's the Arabic root. So the word translates into the creature that forgets. That's what a human being is. And so we forget God every day. We forget reality every day, every minute. And so that's why many of our religions develop daily spiritual practices, right? In my tradition, we have these 5 daily prayers. Other Judaism, Orthodox Judaism, there's 3 daily prayers. Many Christians go to church regularly or daily, and there are those who do special prayers every day in their own traditions. I would encourage people to return to that, simply because for me, the prayers are helpful to me because for a long time I didn't do them, and now I do them as regularly as I can. I've worked very hard to try to do them 5 times a day. It's because it's me replugging, and when I'm doing that, I realize, oh my God, in 2 hours, I've forgotten everything, and I'm back to being upset by the world and ego stuff and Hollywood stuff and this and that and getting angry about this. And then I replugged and remember God. And so then I'm back. And then I drain my battery again with my ego, and I got to replug again. So I really think daily spiritual practices of all of us are helpful to all of us, because I think we just forget by nature.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well said, Cameron. Well said. Nadia, do you have anything that you want to share? Any stories you want to tell or experiences you're comfortable telling us about?
Nah.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. We can't see your face, so we have to go with your words.
Yeah.
Put the camera on.
No. You're not my dad.
Boo.
I've had experience where I've had and Leon probably knows this, the flat brim hat spirit shadow
that
dude
thing.
that shows up.
Mm.
Yeah,
You've seen that
thing's
thing. Okay,
shown up
that's
a couple times.
wow, that's scary.
In college, we had something growling out of one of our closets and like flipping things over. Like me and my roommate came home, our whole office area was flipped over. Gone ghost hunting before multiple times. I mean, I lived in the Middle East, which has a lot of energy around there, a lot of spirits.
Were you in Lebanon? Where were you in Lebanon?
Jordan. And my great
grandfather. Jordan has a lot of
built
spiritual energy. Absolutely.
He built the first Catholic church there, too. So my family is Catholic. So very rare I know from the Middle East, but we do exist.
But there's
where Jesus came
Not
from.
rare.
Well, not rare. I mean, look, in Jordan, the side on the Jordanian side, it's where the John the Baptist would baptize people. That's on the Jordanian side. Big. No, I mean there are some of the oldest Nazarene churches were first century in what is now Jordan. So yeah.
And I will say, so the women in my family are very sensitive to things like energy wise. It's why I won't go to the Zach Baggins museum. It's why I don't enter places that are, because I either always fear of having something hitch a ride back with me, or I'm just uberly.
Trust me, Nadia, whatever
sensitive
demon
to
you bring home with you, gonna stick with you for a week and be like, fuck this bitch, and bounce
I know,
right the fuck back.
I know. But yeah, my younger siblings, when they were very young, they were my step siblings. Their grandmother passed away, and they're twins, and they walked somebody to the front door and let them out, and they said it was their grandmother who had just passed away. My one sister messed with a Ouija board, and that brought a lot of heartache into the family after that. So yeah, just experience overall. Have I ever seen something physically other than the shadow dude? No. And I'm okay with that. If anything's listening, like, another way.
I mean, that's a pretty big thing to see. It's like, well, I've never seen anything except I saw a UFO. I mean, okay, well, you've seen something. The shadow dude's that brim dude, the hat brim dude. That's a scary thing.
Yeah. And it was not. Both times happened. Afterwards, something bad happened both times. So I think he's just a bringer of just something evil or something. Yeah.
So it's like what was it? What was the what's the Mothman? The Mothman appears before tragedy, right?
Yep.
Tinfoil Haters, we did an excellent 2-part series on the Mothman. Check it out. That's one of my favorite episodes that we've ever done.
But yeah, I just
nice.
Ghosts make me, these stuff kind of gives me anxiety on it, because I truly believe there's something out there, just with my relationship with God and how I was raised and what I've done my own research and stuff for. And I truly believe there's evil in the world that exists like this, supernaturally, if you want to. And I really don't believe in fucking with it at all, because it just brings heartache, and it sometimes doesn't even just bring heartache directly to you. It brings it to your family, your generations to come to your family. Like it's just I just no thank you.
It's like
Ouija board. I got a pretty wild Ouija board story that I'm sure there is an explanation for, but I don't have one. So me and my buddies were we live in the Midwest. There's a lot of farms around here, a lot of silos, shit like that, and so some of the fun things to do are just fucking go you trespass on farmland, check out silos, abandoned ones, things. There's so much abandoned farmland around here, so fucking much abandoned farmland, and whatnot. And we were driving down the one of the back roads, not far off Route 66, and we saw this silo that had spray painted like on it, "Evil Within" or "Evil Awaits" or something like that. I've got a picture of it. I can find it and pull it up. And it was in this like creepy, bloody words. Where like, that's funny. Teenagers having fun, whatever. And so we're like, all right, we're gonna come back out here at night and check out the silo. And it had like a big window thing. I'll find the picture here in a minute. It's super cool. And so we come back later that night, and me and my buddies, hop in and we're looking around, and like there's literally nothing in there, but except for a bunch of graffiti and shit like that. Like it's nothing special, but like we had this feeling about this place. So he's like, all right. Nothing here. Let's come back and check it out again. So we came back the next weekend to check it out. So granted, some time went by, about 7 days or so, give or take. But we come back the next week, and in between the week period, so when we go back, there's a Ouija board sitting in the center of this silo with a bunch of burnt candles behind it, and the roof of the silo, this is the crazy part, was now gone.
Absolutely the fuck not. I would have been out there so fast. I trip people. I'm gone. I'm sorry. I know it might not be the Christian thing to do, but sorry, Leon. The demon will get you first before it gets me.
Whatever's lingering, I want nothing to do with.
Yeah, dude. It was and there was a pentagram drawn that wasn't there before as well. But that literally is the least interesting part compared to the fucking roof of the silo was gone.
I don't know how you do that.
Let me see if I can find a picture of me at the silo. Hold on a sec, because I've got.
Oh, nice.
I've got one. It's just it's got how far back, because this was years ago. How far back do I have to go?
Ouija boards are not to be messed with. They are not toys. People, they market them as toys. They are not toys.
They open doorways that you cannot close.
Here we go. Damn, it's way more zoomed in than I thought it was.
We don't believe that, people stick around. So, like, if you're contacting somebody through the Ouija board and they're like, oh, it's me, your grandmother or mother. I'm like, no, more than likely it's something disguising as that to move.
There are spirits that are actually attached to you and follow generations. And so they know everything about your grandmother, your grandfather, you, your aunt. So they can mimic anything.
Oh, no, I've actually had that direct experience.
Yeah.
Literally, there was a friend of mine who's from Indonesia who is very popular, sort of, she's a ghost hunter in Indonesia. She's like she's like a celebrity there in Indonesia, but she has the ability, she's got sight, like she can see a bit into the other world. And when I was talking to her once, she looked at me and goes, so who's the woman with the black hair that's been attached to your family for 5 generations, right? And this mirrored my Sufi master in West Africa had mentioned. So my great grandmother had been had sort of been a Sufi mystical healer in colonial India in the 1800s, right? People from all over the country would come to her, like little village, and they would she would pray for them and do like spiritual things, and they would be healed of various illnesses. And because of her spiritual power, my Sufi master said a lot of jinn or spirits were attracted to her energy. Because of her sort of living in the two worlds. And they said to me at the time that a lot of the sort of the psychic or other strange phenomena in your family is a result of your great grandmother, right? And then my friend who didn't know this story, my Indonesian friend, Sarah, she was saying to me, so this she could see it. She even drew a picture of it. And it's this woman, it's this entity. She said it was a jinn that had been attached to my family going back to the 1800s to one of my ancestral women and had been following our family for years.
Yeah.
And so
that's why
I have that direct experience.
With what you're saying,
it was
with reconnecting back to God is like praying over generational curses, because that's what exactly it is. It's a curse that follows the whole line up until it's extinct.
Yeah, we actually had to deal with it because this thing has been, it's what it has done for many years. Certainly moved to LA. It's like a weird trickster in my life that, especially in like around women, it causes strange phenomena to happen. And my friend was like, yeah, it's because it's jealous. It feels an attachment to you. And when a woman is in your life, she causes strange phenomena to happen. I'll give you an example. We literally had to exorcise this thing. I think it's gone. The phenomena stopped after we did sort of a spiritual exorcism, get rid of it. But I'll give you one example. Years ago, I had a friend of mine who was an actress who was working in New York. She came to visit LA. She crashed with me, all platonic. She was just staying with me. And I joked with her and I said that be careful whenever a pretty girl is, in my life in any way, even as a friend, this jinn will get jealous and cause strange things to happen, and just be careful of it. And she thought, oh, what a silly, crazy superstition you have. How funny, right? And then the next day she has to go to like an audition or whatever. And she puts her keys down on my table. She goes to the bathroom, get ready, come out. And she's like, where are my keys? And I was like, oh, they're not on my table. Where do they go? And so we're looking through my entire apartment trying to find our keys. She's going to be late for her appointment, right? And she's freaking out because keys have vanished. And finally said, I think the jinn took it. I think it's messing with you. And she's like, what do I do? I got to get to my audition. And I said, I don't know, just talk to it. And so she said, Mr. Jinn, whatever you are, can you just please return my keys? I have to go to this meeting. I'm sorry. And we both looked and the keys were back on the table. They just appeared. They weren't there before. And so she's never stayed with me ever again.
There's this other time here. This one I do have pictures of. I have a picture of the other thing as well. The silo, but it's really zoomed in, so you can't really see. It's more of a. It's just me hanging out above the Evil Awaits thing. By the way, it said Evil Awaits, not Evil Within. That's a video game I was playing. Evil Awaits is what the silo said. But there was. I've got 2 pictures of these. So this is. Me and my buddies went to an abandoned Girl Scout camp that's supposedly haunted. And we found these weird trinket things, and then for to scale for size, here's me holding it, and or holding one of them.
Why the fuck are you holding one? What are you doing, you crazy son of a bitch?
He's not.
Oh my god!
So yeah.
Could be
he's the dude who finds like the scary idol in the cave and says, "Let me bring it home."
Come near me ever again, my guy. I'm sorry. You stay where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's the worst that can happen?
There's a lot of worse that can happen, buddy.
I know.
I've written an entire horror movie based on friends of mine who found an idol in a cave in the Appalachian Mountains and brought it home and unleashed this terrifying thing in their house.
Leon,
yeah, you wouldn't last.
I apologize, but we're all booked at the Latino Slam for the next year.
Next decade.
Love you, buddy.
This was years ago.
Yeah, Twitter Talk was great though. Watch that, Leon. So, Cameron's, we have to get Cameron out, but I want to tell a quick story about Nadia. She wouldn't let me see her if I went to the Zach Baggins Museum, so I couldn't see her in person.
Not. I did the same thing to my sister. I said, "You want to go to there? You go the last thing before you hop on the plane. I don't want to see you after that. Do not come near me." You know what my sister did after she went? She went to the nearest church after she went through that thing.
Oh, so, really?
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait to go.
Good luck.
Smart lady.
All right, so that gives me. So let me give you a last story before I have to leave, because you talked about like the disappearing silo thing, right? So I've had, and we talked earlier about things coming back following you home, like Nadia is scared of. And once it wasn't fun, right? And so what happened was a few years ago, I went to Hawaii to see some friends, and they like, "Hey, let's go on a ghost tour." And so they took us, and the ghost tour organizer is actually a friend of mine now. His name is Lopaka. He's actually a member of my Patreon, right? And so he's great, but he organizes ghost tours, and he's native Hawaiian. He knows all the legends and the histories. So we all went on late night to this ghost tour, and we went to different places with legends and stories, and then we were going to go to this cave where was infamous that the legend was that a poor young woman had been murdered there by some sort of obsessive guy who was stalking her, and he killed her in the cave, right? That's the legend. And he said people have gone to the cave and they've taken pictures, and when you develop the picture, you'll see her shadowy form. He showed us some of the pictures. I was like, wow, that's kind of really scary. Let's check out this cave, right? So we go to the cave, and as we're approaching the cave, my friend Lopaka stops at the edge of the cave, and he goes, "Everyone get back on the bus right now." I was like, okay, so we're not gonna be able to go to the cave. We're like, all right. And he said, "This has never happened to me before, but I went to the cave and physical hands grabbed hold of me and pushed me back, like invisible hands." So I took that as a sign, don't go to this cave. And I said, all right, well, I believe this stuff, so we shouldn't have gone to the cave. So fortunately, I was perhaps maybe too close to the cave. So I get home. And this is Hawaii, Honolulu, and I go to my hotel. I'm like in a nice hotel, and so I'm going back to my hotel room, and I go to the bathroom and I freeze because the toilet is gone. As in the toilet has vanished. As in there's a hole in the ground in this like 5-star hotel that's just like a black hole with a plumbing system, right? And there's no toilet. I'm like, what is this? So I call the front desk. I'm like, why did you take out my toilet? What happened to my toilet, right? I mean, this is a nice hotel. What's going on here, right? And they said, oh, you called it in. You called it and you said it was a very strange request. You called us the front desk and you asked us to remove this. And we thought it was very strange, but we like to accommodate our guests. So we removed the toilet, right? I was like, I didn't call you. When was this call made? And the call was made while I was at the cave. Okay. Someone called and mimicked my voice or whatever and just said, remove this. So I was like, that's really bizarre. Well, I'm not staying in here. I need a toilet. So they put me in another room, right? And I was like, that's very strange. The next day I was supposed to fly back to LA, and I get better, and I come and I go to the airport, and I get delayed, and this and that is blocking me. But I finally get to my gate, and as I'm getting to my gate, they close the gate, like literally in my face. They close the gate I'm like, hey, I'm right here. Can I get on the plane? They're like, I'm sorry, you missed the boarding time. I'm like, I'm standing in front of you. You closed the door on me. I mean, why did you close the door? You could have just let me walk on. They're like, I'm sorry, this was the exact time. I was like, that's crazy, right? And they're like, well, we'll book you another one because they're like, I was like, what's happening? The plane is taxiing away, so I can't get it, right? So I'm like, fine, book me the next one. And they're like, oh wow, all the flights are canceled all of a sudden to LA. So what do you mean they're all canceled? When's the next one? Oh, tomorrow? I mean, tomorrow. It's like 9 a.m. in the morning. Like, what am I going to do? I don't have another. So like we can stay at the hotel. And so I'm staying there for a day extra and getting very agitated. I don't want to. Finally, I get my flight the next day. And then for some reason, it's not allowed to land in LA and it diverts to like Salt Lake City or something, right? And it lands in Utah. And I'm like, what's happening here? And then we're like, oh, we had to do this. But, I don't know what the reason was we diverted, but we're in Salt Lake City. So when are we going to go to LA? And then suddenly there's a problem on the plane. So we're all deboarded. And then they have to replace the plane. So now when can I go? Well, tomorrow. So it's another day I'm stuck. I can't get back home. So I finally get home after like 3 days. I'm like, I get back home and I'm in a basket case. I haven't been able to get back home. So I get home and that night I go to sleep in my bed, so happy. So I be in my bed, go to sleep. And then in the middle of the night, I wake up and I find myself I'm awake and I'm like not sleepwalking. I'm like sleep running. I'm running around my apartment in a panic. Like I wake up in the middle of that. Like what's happening? I'm physically awake in the middle of a sleep running thing. So I'm like running from something, panic. And I'm like, what is happening to me? Am I losing my mind? I know I'm exhausted, but this is crazy. And other strange stuff keeps happening to me. I have these terrifying nightmares and whatever. So finally I turn to my friend Heather, who is a psychic or someone who can see into the other world, right? I said, Heather, I'm having weird stuff happening. I need to talk to you. Can I come to you? So I go to her house and she opens the door and I haven't told her anything. And opens the door and she freezes. And Heather looks at me and goes, who is this woman that you brought with you from Hawaii? I'm like, what? I see this woman with long black hair and she starts talking to whatever this is, whether it's a ghost or a demon pretending to be that. She's talking to whatever this entity is. And what it claims to be the woman that was murdered in the cave. It's claiming that, right? And she's telling me the story that I haven't told her. She's like, well, this woman is saying she was killed in this cave and that she was being held there by her killer. Like their ghosts were tied together, or their spirits, whatever. This entity was claiming that. And she's like, and then I'm like, oh, I have bad news with you. That dude came too. He didn't want you. She basically, for whatever reason, glommed onto you and said, this guy's my ticket out of here. So she glommed onto you. Maybe she felt my Sufi vibe. I don't know. And she wanted to leave. And then he's like, you're not going to let her go. So he has been blocking you from leaving Hawaii for days, right? He wouldn't let you leave. And one of the things she said, but it's something strange. They're showing me this image that he lives in this negative entity, this being claiming to be her murderer, whatever it is, right? Lives in like the cave, but lives within like a dark pool inside of the cave. And she keeps showing me this dark pool, that it has to live inside this dark pool. And then I suddenly realized, oh, that's the toilet. It needed to remove the toilet so it could have the dark pool inside my apartment, inside my hotel room, right? And so it was the most insane thing. It's like, and it was blocking, she claimed it's blocking your effort to get home because it needs to control this other woman or this entity claiming to be a woman. So I was like, can you get rid of this thing? And she, she talks to these things and says, no, you got to leave. You can't be attached to him. And she claims to sever the attachment. And then it stopped. Like that phenomenon stopped. But that is the one time something did follow me home. And it literally disrupted my life in this incredibly extreme fashion, right? So Nadia, you're not wrong to be afraid of that. I never took that seriously. I was like, it's okay. God will protect me. I'm a nice spiritual Sufi guy. These things can't hurt me. I was like, sometimes God wants to teach you a lesson. Sometimes you're going into not great places. I'm going to let you see what that's all about. Sometimes okay, I protect you, but I think you need to experience this, right? That really changed my attitude towards
first God had taught me a lesson. It would have been with those bones I found in the wood and not with the 2 divorces I've gone through. But maybe I don't get to pick.
Was it after or before you found those in the woods?
So my first divorce was prior to the bones, and then the bones were in between the 2 marriages. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Cameron, let's talk about your Patreon, and then you have to.
I gotta sign off, guys. So I mentioned my Patreon already, but it's fun stuff. It's a place you can go where I share my thoughts on Hollywood every now and then. I get some interesting things. We got my insider, which some people in the chat don't believe in. Whatever. I know who they are. My insider inside Lucasfilm actually shared with me a lot of interesting information this week after like 2 months of dead silence. I didn't hear from them. And then they came back to me with some very interesting information on on the plans for Ahsoka season 2, and they gave me a lot of story details that I didn't know, and I shared most of it, not all of it, because I want to keep some spoilers for people to actually enjoy the show. But so that's kind of stuff. And most of the time it's me talking about my perspective on Hollywood, my opinion on things, and then I'm posting things like posting sections of my new novel, posting these storyboards and visual boards that if you are an aspiring filmmaker, you can learn from. It's like, this is how I can visual, this is how you make a shot list for a movie. If you don't know how to do that, you can come see how I'm doing it, right? And so all those things are available on my Patreon, and I've got several hundred pretty loyal people that have survived the ups and downs of my reputation, and seem to be very happy there. And then and hopefully on the next time I'm on here, I'll be able to talk more about what's happening with this film that I'm making on Maryland. But just, we've had progress after a year of no progress, and I know that, Leon, you read the script, and so we've had progress. Yeah, we've had progress after a year of everyone saying, great script, not going to make it. We finally have had some major progress. But I want to hold on to that information until I can really solidify some of it. And I'm hopefully be able to announce it, because I'm very proud of the things that are happening. And I feel like, this story needs to be told, the story of the true Norma Jean that was erased by Hollywood and by the fans. And for this image of this ghost of Marilyn Monroe that really was not her, and it was a character that consumed her life and killed her. And I think we need to honor the real woman. And so those are my novels and whatever. And so that's me. And I appreciate Zach. So thank you. We started off a little intense because I'm maybe I have a thin skin about some stuff, but it's not easy to be publicly identified and still talking on YouTube, because people use that as an opportunity. They see that as easy pickings to release their own jealousies and their own negativity. And because now they're like, I can, some people in the chat were proud that they were trolling me. I don't know what pleasure people get out of that. I guess it makes you I guess there are small people in the world that get great pleasure out of doing that. I would encourage people to be more than that. Anyone in this, Zach attracts incredible panelists, and he attacks, in my opinion, incredible chat. So if you want to be small, I think you're just you're disassociating from the beauty of this channel, and I don't think it brings you anything. What's the joy of being hurtful and negative? I just don't get it. I guess maybe people don't like themselves and they project that onto others. So they'll look, I irritated Kamran Pasha. Is that an accomplishment in life? I don't know. So I thank you, Zach, for being such a great host, and for all these panelists. I talk a lot. I sometimes talk over you, so I ask your forgiveness for that. You're all really interesting people. I'm really glad I got to talk to Lovett. I talked over you a few times, so please forgive me for that. But you're such an interesting person. I want to be on the panel with you again. Nadia, we just see each other all the time.
Thank you.
And Leon, I'm kind of stuck with. He's sort of like, you just got to.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And before you go, so check out his books. Also, all of his links are in the description. So his IMDb, his books, his Patreons, all there. But if you're for next time, Kamran comes on, look at some of the stuff. He's done some incredible work. He's very humble about it. But he's the real deal. He's spending his time with us, and I really appreciate him doing that. So thanks, Kamran. You're always welcome. And I think it was a great talk you had earlier. I think it's important to have, as long as if you want to have it, we're going to talk about it. So.
But like I said, I think I would like, because this channel is such a positive place, I really want to share the human effect of what trolling does to people, because it actually impacts people. It affects their lives. And I think this is such a positive place. I would urge YouTube to start evolving toward more. Maybe that's an impossible ask. Maybe human beings just default to negativity, but you've created such a beautiful community here, Zach. I would keep urging people to keep raising it higher.
Twilight Zone. So your Twilight story and it's very much a Twilight Zone episode. You have to write, Kamran. When that show, if it comes back, you wrote for it before. Yes.
Well, yeah, I did agree with it. So okay, I got to get out of here. I have not eaten. It is now almost 9:30. I need to have some food. So God bless everyone. Maybe next month we'll do it again, and maybe I'll be able to announce some really exciting new things on this channel about what's happening with Maryland. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Kamran.
Everyone stick around here. There's more crazy stories from all these crazy people. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night. All right, you people. I think that we're gonna go around, and if you guys have another story you want to share with us, then let's do that. And if not, tell us what you guys are working on, and then we need to get some people to go and sub to. Definitely Lovett, and also Nadia.
And Nadia, she's so close, guys.
She's getting close to 1K. That's a big one for us.
Yeah.
So if you guys have not, please go and subscribe to Nadia.
After that, I'm quitting. I'm quitting on
the
top.
Wonderful Nadia. Go out with a bang.
Yep.
Yes, but yes, thank you for praying for my family, though. I appreciate that, Rick. I need all the prayers I can get on this channel. I've done some things, I guess. I've muted some people.
Like Zach's he doesn't treat me nice. Zach's, you're not a good podcaster. You don't know to conduct interviews at all. You're a 45-year-old man, and I pray for your family.
Jesus.
There we go. Had to get that in at least once tonight. That's what she said.
We miss him.
Without even asking for Tim's in the chat, I'm surprised.
I know.
Yeah.
It's free.
So
What's up, Fun
easy.
Collecting? Guys, if I miss in the chat, I'm really better at talking to people, but it was a great conversation. So I mostly was shut up, which was good. I think it's a better show. We're going to send you guys over to Kitty when we're done. But first, Lovett, tell people what you are working on and tell us how Leon's going to be a guest on your show.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, we have the Blood Meridian. We're finally going to get that done on the 15th with Zax and Copa. We're going to review it and have a little wonderful panel discussion of gore and guts. And then next month, we're going to host a Ask Me Anything. It's like a dating relationship. Ask Me Anything. I'll have a couple people, like maybe Leon can show up. Zach.
I love that
and
sort of shit. I'm so fucking down.
yeah, so there's an option. I have a link that I'm going to drop when it gets close where people can anonymously send questions. So you can either send it to me or to the panel. So it is totally anonymous. We're going to have a dumpster fire session.
I heard dumpster fire sex. I'm interested.
Yes, well,
Love it.
it could happen.
If you got room, I'm totally down if that's something you're doing.
So I have some clips and we're going to talk about dating and relationships, all of that good stuff. Should be fun. It'll be either my best stream or my last stream. We will see.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. It's just a start. Flaccid Phoenix in the house. What the hell, dude?
Hello.
Barely recognize you. You handsome gentleman. He's got a big dumper, to be honest. And so if you're a dumper guy, Don is your guy. It's out of disproportionately enormous. And if that's your type, if you're maybe like a Kata, maybe you wouldn't want to find yourself a Flaccid Phoenix. Thank you, Kide. Hello to Stormy. I've been wrestling them. They're on camera quite a bit tonight, but they're wild and they're attacking everything right now. So they went to the vet yesterday and they're now recovering. And they're now wide awake. So dumpster fire sex is scary. I'll try anything once. Don has donk. He sure does, crab feeder. And then Nadia.
What's up? What's up, folks?
You're covering Archive 81.
Yes, so no shows for the rest of the week, but I will be back next Tuesday is a Vincent Price stream. Nice. And Thursday we're going to start Archive 81 coverage, and then Friday back with Stranger Things. So
I'm definitely interested in
I'm
that.
88 fan myself.
Oh, we have a favorite. It's 88. That was one of our recommendations last week. Was Archive 81, one season only. It's on Netflix. It's a great horror thriller mystery, and it's one and done. So
the podcast is like less than an hour for all 8 episodes.
Really?
Each episode's like 15 minutes long at most.
Nice.
So, but I'm glad it's like does the podcast go after the series? It does, right? It like continues the story.
It's what it's based off of. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Archived 88. There we go. Let's say 87, 88 fans. So
88 is the Nazi number, right? That's why I said it. I want to make sure I've got the right number.
Yes.
Ace of base.
Okay.
How would I know? I'm not as white as you.
Sorry, my foot goes out to you.
The other way.
I'm from Missouri. Sorry.
You're pretty white though, Nadia. Let's be honest.
I am not.
If I have another brown person, then you're white. And Cameron was our brown tonight, and so now you're the white. It depends, right? It's all relative, and you're relatively white. Go sub tonight. Look at this whore with Nats. Look at her. Get her to 1K.
77 away from 1K, guys. Come on, please. I'm begging you.
I've already subbed with all my altar
I'm
counts.
not asking you. I'm asking
harder.
the chat. I'm asking the chat.
Dawn, I know you have at least 12 sock puppets. Come on, we know it. So Dawn, just go give the girl some subs. Maybe some
I
likes,
unfortunately
maybe-
do not have a dump. So sorry, Don. I was not
You are
blessed.
brown,
I am of the clan long back, where it's just nothing but back.
Nothing but back. Well, Sherry takes care of a lot of stuff with this avatar.
Oh my.
It's
Oh my goodness, Sherry.
Face Cherry.
I put it up a few times. And I did
Proportion.
I noticed
You
it.
love to see it.
I lost my diversity point. I did. Venkman's girl.
I'm Native American, so you're good.
Taylor Swift is from. I don't know.
Fuck,
Well,
The
Leon.
long back clan, probably. She is also one of mine.
No ass.
Leon, bro, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. This has been awesome. And you we make fun of you for not watching stuff, but yeah, you're right. You do stream like 80 hours a week, plus have a full-time job.
A lot, yeah,
So-
a lot. That being said, before I do outro and whatnot, you said we got one more story. I got a couple things.
Yeah.
If we have the time.
I
One,
have all night, dude.
I've got some photos to show. The story behind these, unfortunately, is not very exciting. I have a friend who's a janitor at this mostly closed down private old folks home. Like when I say private, it's like, I mean, obviously most places like that are private, but this is like a very enclosed. I'll show you the pictures and you know what it is. Supposedly haunted. We unfortunately didn't find anything, but like he let me and a couple friends in to see if we could find shit. But I got pictures of the exterior. We weren't supposed to be there, so I didn't take pictures inside. But it straight
Holy
up looks like
shit.
something out of Scooby Doo. Like,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Almost looks
So,
like
yeah.
smoke coming out of the south.
I took all these pictures the night that we investigated
Wow.
this place. Unfortunately, didn't find anything, but god
Dude,
damn,
you're
the pictures of the
haunted, man.
exterior came out super fucking cool.
You're fucking haunted.
Yeah.
Well, something definitely found you. That cross,
yeah,
like you're playing.
No
with
wonder
fire.
you
You're the
dance
best
on
cross.
poles.
And then I will leave you guys with, I've told it before, but maybe there's some people in the audience or maybe you guys love it. Nadia, I don't know if you guys have heard it, but my actual only thing that like ever happened to me, terrified me, freaked me out. And it's like it takes place over the course of about a 7 or 8 year period. But
Oops.
no, that's okay. You people are gonna need that lightness before you won't lie.
I can't believe you did that.
This story probably
just about to open up, and you just.
No, it's probably good because this story gonna. I guarantee the story's gonna scare some motherfuckers.
Don't scare me before bed. I'm too high for this shit. Please don't.
You're gonna need this, Nadia. So when I was somewhere between 14 and 16 years old, living in a trailer out in the middle of nowhere. Not a very good home life. I'm not with Papa Paradise at the time. I'm with my other dad, and he ain't too kind to me. So going through a lot. You know, I'm in like 8th, 9th grade, something like that. So I used to go to bed every night. I would watch TV. You just put the TV timer on. It's an old tube TV. You put the TV timer on, and you fall asleep. That way the TV would turn off by itself.
Mhm.
I go to bed watching Naruto every night. So I fall asleep. TV turns off. Now, my bed is so. Imagine if I was laying down, the window above me. So the window would, and there's a tree outside my window. So of course, moonlight shines in.
Right.
You could see the branch silhouettes of the tree.
Oh.
So I fall asleep. TV turns off. I wake up in the middle of the night, somewhere probably around 2, 3 in the morning, if I had to guess. But I couldn't look over at my alarm clock because I had sleep paralysis. Silhouette of the tree is full force on my wall, and there is what I can only describe as the shadowy figure of a horned imp on the tree branches, moving like all evil, like
Wow.
fucking puppet and shit. You want me? Yeah. Just
Holy shit.
fucking
I
just
fucking hate you right now, Leon. You fucking.
and I'm terrified. I'm full
rightly
paralysis
so.
mode. I'm full paralysis mode, and all I can do is watch this imp-like shadow figure with these horns and like this angular outline of a head dance on this tree branch. Eventually, I wake up in the morning to get ready for school, get the bus, the whole nine. So I assumed it was a nightmare. I assumed this was a nightmare. I had a bad dream.
Mm-hmm.
I never had any experience with it again for a very long period of time. And so I was like, all right, but I thought about it all the time because like it was so visceral, it was so real. But I told myself it had to be a nightmare, just one of those really, because we all have those nightmares that we've never forgotten. I remember one from when I was 4 fucking years old. And then my first divorce happens. So I had me and my ex-wife separate. I get an apartment. I'm all alone. This is when I had just started the police academy. So I'm drinking heavily. I'm starting this new fucking chapter of my life. Divorce, the whole 9. So I'm coming home. I'm literally drinking myself to bed every night. I'm just passing out drunk on the couch, and then waking up at 6 a.m. to fucking go to class and shit like that. But every night when I was drinking until I passed out, I was seeing this figure now dancing on my wall in my periphery. And I didn't think anything of it because I always told myself, like, you're depressed, you're going through shit, you're drinking a lot, stuff like that. You know, there's logical explanations because I'm not in a good state of mind, things to that effect.
Right.
But you guys all remember, you know, Cookies. He's been in my videos, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's been on these, so Cookies didn't live with me at the time. I was living alone. But Cookies didn't live far, and because he knew I was going through some shit, he would come by all the time, make sure I'm okay. And I would usually drink together, and oftentimes he would stay the night. Whenever he stayed the night, I would go crash in my bedroom. I'd let him take the couch. And then one night we're drinking, and it's got to be midnight, 1 a.m., something like that. And he tells me, bro, it's time for me to go. I'm like, nah, we've been drinking. You shouldn't be driving. I know you live that far away, but even so, don't drink and drive. Just stay the night. And he looks me dead in the face. He goes, bud, I got to be real with you. Every time you go to bed and I try and fall asleep on this couch, there's some weird little dancing monkey imp-like thing on your wall.
Oh,
and I fucking froze because I have never told him or anybody in my life that story. And I was like, so wait, this and like I was fucking frozen. And so I told him the story of what happened when I was a teenager. But ever since that night where he talked about it, he opened up about it, and it never seen it again. And that was shit. I was probably 20, somewhere between 22 and 24. So this it's been almost a decade since then. If not a decade since then. Never seen it since. It was like acknowledging it made it go away.
Yes.
Jamie's comment
got
just got
caught.
God damn it, Jamie.
Impossible. Would you? So now, Nadia, would you let Leon stay in your home overnight?
Fuck not. I'm sorry. Fuck no. No, thank you. No offense, Leon, but man, thank you for the nightmares tonight.
That's fucked up, dude.
Dude, I see shit like that all the time out of the peripheral of my eye, or like, you ever get that feeling that something is screaming at you,
following,
but you can't see it, but you screaming at you, not just following you, just screaming at you, and you just can't seem to like see it, but you know it's there. You can't. I've had that. So
Nadia, let me fuck you up a little bit more. I read this post I read this post on Facebook back in the day, and I've never forgot it. It freaked the fuck out of me. I don't know if you play like a lot of like RPG video games, or whatever, like games where like you have to go to sleep, like to progress to the next day. But a lot of video games have this built-in mechanism to where like you can't sleep if there are monsters nearby. And like, so you'll try like in Fallout, for example, or Skyrim, you try and go to bed. And
you're fuck me up tonight.
It says you can't go to bed because there are monsters nearby. Now think about the last time you just couldn't sleep.
I fucking hate you right now. It's gonna be tonight.
Oh my goodness, Leon, you're the worst.
And I look out of the corner of my eye, and I have a banana like pet bed, and my black cat is like, it's dark, and she's just sticking right out of it. Fucking freaks me out.
Dude, I was in 6th grade. My sister had gotten this fucking kitten, and it was an indoor cat, and because we lived out in the country, and in the middle of the night I wake up because I feel like I'm being watched, and so I must be 6th grade, so I'm probably like 12 years old, and so I get out of bed and I go look in my closet. It's like, there's nothing there, and so I turn around, and when I turn around, big fucking eyes staring at me through the window, and I jump. What the fuck? Well, I didn't say I was 12 years old, so I didn't say what the fuck. But like, I jumped and yelled, and then I looked closer, realized my sister's fucking kitten had gotten out and was sitting on my windowsill, like begging to get let back in.
You got pranked.
There was my aunt, and there's a picture, I should find it, where they truly believed something evil was living in their house. And the only one was affected by it was my aunt at night. She would have like things pull at her legs, scratch her, all this kind of stuff. There's a picture of like my cousins, and you can kind of see a face in like one of their hairs, like when they're like sitting together. Anyway, come to find out, they had a cat. And at the time, my aunt's room was the only room the cat was never allowed in at all. And, you know, there's this theory or like folklore that cats will like wear off evil spirits, right? They chase them off and stuff. They started to let the cat into that room. That thing stopped immediately. Never came back.
Yeah.
That's cool. Dude, my sister, this is my ghost story, is my sister's. My sister doesn't really, at least to my knowledge, believe in this sort of shit. Now, she was a kid at the time, but like, she's very pragmatic. She's a young, smart, beautiful, intelligent individual. Love my sister. She swears up and down on multiple occasions she saw the ghost of our uncle at my grandparents' house. And so my uncle died of a drug overdose when he was 22. And like one of the weird things about his death was like he came in his room, you know, his bedroom. He passed out on his bed, and he didn't wake up. He OD'd and died. When he died, his analog wall clock stopped. Like his physical, his clock on the wall stopped at the time of his death. So that's fucking weird as shit.
Wow.
And then, you know, time goes on. My uncle lived with my grandparents, by the way, because he was 22. He was still young, you know, things like that, going to college, whatever. And so when we go stay with my grandparents, after enough time, me, my little brother, my little sister all shared my dead uncle's room. That's where we would sleep when we were with the grandparents. And my sister claims on 2 separate occasions, one time she got up to go to the bathroom, which was right next door to our uncle's room. And when she was done and she was washing her hands middle of the night, he was behind her in the mirror. And like, she wasn't scared or anything. It didn't freak her out. She said like she felt super calm, and it was nice seeing Uncle Matt again. And she comes back in the room, crawls into bed with me and my little brother, and falls asleep. A few trips to my grandparents later, because we visit my grandparents a couple times a year because they only live about 4 hours away. We're all sleeping in bed again. Me and my little brother are asleep. She wakes up in the middle of the night, and he's, according to my little sister, standing beside the bed watching us sleep. And again, she didn't feel threatened. She didn't scare her. She's like, "Oh, Uncle Matt's watching us." And she goes back to bed. So on 2 separate occasions, supposedly my little sister saw the ghost of our dead uncle, both in the room next to his and in his room. So for those, the reason I bring that up to end on is earlier someone said there's never any good ghost stories. I feel like that's a good ghost story.
That is a good ghost story. Leon, you've got some stories, dude. You've got a bit of everything. Thanks for letting us into Leon's world. What I'd like to ask you to do for next time, Leon, is one of those crosses that you picked up. Can you get them and take a picture of it at Nadia's house? So like,
no, fuck off.
Take a picture.
I was waiting for
Absolutely not. No,
at her house.
I'll
her house
go
if
into
you can,
hiding.
but if not,
I'll fucking go into hiding. I'm not playing.
Photoshop.
You know, Annabelle doll is missing, right? The Annabelle doll.
I don't
on the
live
loose.
I could not stand those
I don't
dolls.
live super far from that Girl Scout camp where those were found. Granted, that was years ago, but I mean, I could probably go back there and see if there's been any other shit. I could pick up some souvenirs.
There's certain things I will not allow in my house.
Zach,
under her bedroom window if you need
don't
to.
mess
like,
with
somewhere.
Me, now I have your address. Don't mess with me.
Come hang out. It's fine by me. I don't care. Yeah, I don't know. But what's gonna happen? I'll bring a beer if you're gonna come hang out. That's all I ask. Come with drinks in hand. So yeah, or in a tree. Do you have a tree outside your bedroom window, Nadia? So if there was a cross in that tree, would you be able to see it?
Dude, I've got rosaries hanging around everywhere in the house. Like, I don't fuck with shit, right? Okay.
Okay. No, we'll talk about.
And by the way, I don't think Leon's imp story is based off the fact that it's a ghost. I think it is some sort of a being, whether it is a.
Yeah, I don't think that one's a ghost. I think that was some.
That is like,
I don't think that was.
like, I don't even want to say the word, but Well, actually, I mean, Leon sometimes is a fairy, but we can let that pass.
Well,
But
that fair, I don't know that this thing was necessarily evil. It appeared at two of the worst times of my life when I was living in that trailer in the woods with not Papa Paradise, and then right after the divorce. So like it appeared when I was going through, but it never did anything to me. It was there.
feeding off of your misery.
That's kind of what I think.
suffering.
Yeah, I don't think it was causing things. Yeah,
I think it was
feeding off your energy.
I think it was more in the supernatural realm of like, creatures and mythical, that kind of realm versus a demon or angel or any sort. But yes, Rick, the real Annabelle, the Raggedy Ann version, is missing.
No.
What?
Yeah, just happened like last week, right?
Yes, because their nephew or son-in-law, one of the two, I can't remember, who runs the museum, has decided to do like a tour of like the most haunted pieces in it, even though they both have told him like this doll does not leave this property at all. Like you do not, this thing doesn't. So it was on its way to go on tour, like to a different location for display, and it disappeared.
Wow.
I'll be lighting fires.
Actually, it disappeared on its way to Chicago. Good luck, Leon.
My cats are insane right now. They're absolutely like they're attacking each other. They're jumping on me. It's a nuts right now. It's an adventure in my basement. They're protecting me from spirits, possibly. Who could say? I am going to be with the Doolies tomorrow, and then
I am too. As long as work
later.
Beating my ass.
Is it?
Well, it's been summer's so busy for me, so it's been off and on. So I didn't get to be the Doolies last week, but hopefully I'll have enough time that I can be with the Doolies tomorrow because I fucking love their show. Oh, by the way, I released a video earlier today, guys. Go fucking check it out if you want to spend an hour watching me make fun of women.
I did watch it. I watched it. It was good, dude. I had seen that video already, but then so your take on it was good. Let's do it again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun to make. I love Shu. I do.
Yeah, she's got some good humor.
I definitely would. Shu. I don't care what the politics are.
Nor do I. Call me mommy, baby. Call me mommy.
Fuck yeah. Let's take it. Tomorrow night with Kitty, with the Thinkers. I'll be hanging out over there. And Friday, I'm going to go see Ballerina. And Saturday night, Circle of Jerks, 10 p.m. Central. And tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to be touching buns with the Gooch. So be ready for another bun touching video.
Rainbow buns.
Otherwise,
Rainbow buns.
Yeah. Week off with Nadia this Friday, but then we're back next week covering Stranger Things.
Season 3, episode 5.
Yes, Kitty is playing Zax's Lava. Yeah. She has aged well. You're right. Yeah, she looks good. Otherwise, I think that's it, you guys. Thanks for hanging out all night. Panel, you guys have been fantastic. Thanks, Cameron. Thanks, Paulie. Thank you, chat. Thanks for the memberships. You guys have been keeping this going. We could do this all night, but people have got to sleep, and Leon's got to make another video yet tonight, I think.
Yeah, I have to make a video.
So we're going to send you guys to Kitty. However, our good friend Cinevere is also streaming right now. So if you would like to open up 2 windows and support 2 of our girls, that would be very much appreciated.
To the walls. To the floors. To the sweat down my balls.
Oh,
go on, Nadia. Don't we stop you?
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Then with that, I'm going to send you to Kitty. Go see Cine and tell them that we sent you and pay your respects to the trans people. Thank you, everyone. It's their month.
It is their month.
Fuck.
Respect to the trans community. And fuck you, trans folks.
Trans people are my friends. Trans folks gon' catch these hands. Trans people are my friends. So respect them for we're going in. Trans people are my friends. Trans folks gon' catch these hands. Trans people are my friends. So respect them for we're going in. Trans folks, show your fucking out. I'll knock you out. I'll knock you out. Trans folks, show your fucking out. I'll knock you out. You better watch out. Trans people are my friends. Trans folks gon' catch these hands. Trans people are my friends.